Waging war on corruption. It's Alex Jones.
And we're gonna ride.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is such an incredible time to be politically alive. So much change, so much being discovered, so much good happening, but also so much bad. Riveting, amazing. We've seen the death of David Rockefeller. We've seen the death of Zbigniew Brzezinski. David Rockefeller was the modern architect of corporate world neocolonialism, crony capitalism, world government. Dead, 2017. His top henchman, his top operative, Brzezinski, dead. And now John McCain, fighting for his life, whereas I would never wish any harm on a living creature and have empathy. This is a man that funded Al-Qaeda in the Arab Spring that killed over 1 million people and blew up hundreds of churches, killing hundreds of thousands of Christians. So he has lived a life of serving death and serving the destruction of America, and now he is in line to meet his maker, and I hope he gets right with God. Talking about Russia hysteria, Mueller's expanded probe to Trump businesses. This is a witch hunt to infinity and beyond. Here's some of the Democrats and Republicans in their hysteria.
If it weren't serious, it would be funny. Some of the what I call the post-factual statements that the left makes continuously. The problem partly is that if you say something, whether it is true or false, whether it is outrageous or rational, if you simply say something over and over and over again, people actually start to believe it and will act on it.
Fox is a propaganda network. It functions off of the idea of breaking people up into teams. So they are aiding and abetting the enemy. They are aiding and abetting those people we are currently at war with, the Russians.
If I hear one more conservative talking about, like, all of us, I don't know what happened to conservatives. They were the guys who were anti-Russia, who are like, well, it's not so, the Russians aren't so bad, you know, because they're defending Trump. And I'm like, are you out of your mind? This guy kills journalists for having an opinion or for digging into the facts or disagreeing with them. They back terrorist governments. They hate us. They're our enemy.
That's McCain, the back to terrorists.
And you know what? Do not be talking to Russians and getting any kind of help from them.
That's the new talking
How dare you take a phone call?
You don't talk to them, see?
I think what we're learning with the Trump Jr. meeting is when you meet with any Russians, you're meeting with Russian intelligence and therefore President Putin.
This is a reality that will become the only reality until this country rids itself of Donald John Trump. He is not a president. He is a puppet put in power by Vladimir Putin.
So many of us are attempting in every way that we possibly can.
You're the puppets.
You're
the enemies.
Unveil the criminal activity, the unconstitutional activity of this president and his family.
Russia kicked out the oligarchs.
I have dubbed them
the only thing we have in common.
Criminal clan a long time ago. And as many of you know, I stepped out a long time ago and said I thought he should be impeached.
The investigation, it's not, nothing's proven yet, but we're now beyond obstruction of justice in terms of what's being investigated. This is moving into perjury, false statements, and even into potentially treason.
The nation and all of our freedoms hang by a thread, and the military apparatus of this country is about to be handed over to scum who are beholden to scum, Russian scum.
Yep, they had their foot on the neck of Russia for a long time, the Hollywood crowd, the globalists, and now they want us.
Resist. Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on this live Thursday global transmission, the 20th day of July, 2017. We've known that Mueller is an operative of the deep state who covered up for the Clintons, the Bushes, and the globalists committing unbelievable crimes. He sat back as FBI director, as did Comey, while the Clintons got tens of billions of dollars to specifically sell out U.S. infrastructure, U.S. minerals, U.S. energy, U.S. technology, including defense. We're talking about nuclear reactors and ICBM launch and reentry technology to China and North Korea. And that's all mainstream news. That's confirmed. Illegal servers, unbelievable crimes, pedophile parties, none of it None of it being prosecuted. And now, Trump got the word yesterday, and he came out and he said, listen, your special counsel investigative powers are to look into Russia collusion in the election, which there is none. It's not collusion to have his son meeting with somebody about dirt on Hillary. That's called doing your job. The Democrats all did that, and they admit that. But now, Mueller announces this morning on the heels of Trump, Mueller expands probe to Trump business transactions, and now it's a criminal investigation to find out if Trump or any of his associates ever had contact with a Russian, including renting Russians' apartments in New York, D.C., Miami, Florida, you name it. I mean, that's the proof now. Now it's going to be they rented apartments or sold apartments to Russians when Russians, since they became quasi-free market, have thousands and thousands of millionaires and close to 100 billionaires. Buying ships, buying yachts, buying helicopters. They've bought them from all the different elites. They gave Hillary Clinton $100+ million into her foundation, 30-something million to the Podestas for uranium, but none of that matters. Those are deals where Hillary's in the email saying, I'm going to meet with the Chinese ambassador, put the money in the account, and I'll meet with him on policy. Boom, arrest her. That's when she was Secretary of State. If Trump gets caught doing something like that, caught with the Chinese ambassador, the Russian ambassador saying, give me money. If Rex Tillerson, the counterpart of Hillary, was in meetings and in WikiLeaks saying, you give the money to the foundation and I'll meet and get that policy done with you next week. You put the money in and you get the policy out, classic bribery. I would call for Rex Tillerson to be put in prison for 50 years. If you give somebody military secrets, it's called treason, and you get your neck hung till your vertebrae pop until you crap your pants and die. But it doesn't matter. I've got 3 clips from yesterday. David Knight and Owen did a great job. I was listening to the show, Workingcation, and there are the clips with Democrats on TV saying, the entire administration, Rex Tillerson, you name it, are all guilty of treason. We're trying to go into Russia and get great deals on all their rare earth minerals, their oil, their gas, their brains, their engineers. Of course we should be working with Russia. We're capitalists. That's what we do. They're capitalists now. But all the left that was always in love with Russia back when they were communist, Hollywood, Howard Stern, all of it literally say, quote, you don't talk to Russians. Any Russian is a Russian agent. Any Russian is like talking to Putin. These are quotes from CNN, MSNBC, Congressman Quigley, Howard Stern, and now. Trump shuts down CIA program to arm Syrian rebels that the Pentagon 5 years ago told Obama to stop doing and said, we're not going to go along with your military invasion of Syria because you are putting in Al-Qaeda, Al-Nusra, which is all the same group, now ISIS, and you are overthrowing a quasi-Christian country, one of the only Muslim countries that actually is inclusive and is secular. You're going to overthrow that when they didn't attack us? And does what the military, what the Pentagon is saying. The Pentagon's telling him, sir, the CIA at the top, not in the middle and the bottom. A lot of those folks are actually patriots. But at the top is big globalist foundation, big New World Order, anti-America, Carnegie, Ford Endowment, Skull and Bones, Yale, Harvard. That's who set up the CIA in 47. It's a shadow globalist government. That's declassified. That's admitted now. Barry Goldwater talked about it in the 50s and 60s. And so they said, Mr. President, you want to beat ISIS and not have our soldiers, Green Berets, and people getting killed every week over their fighting. There's been lots of training accidents with Navy SEALs and Army soldiers dying. Lots of plane loads going down, blowing up. Which is a classic tactic to cover up the real number of dead. I don't think it's even needed to be done. Just report on what's happening. And Trump's like, we still have agencies funding the rebels when 98% in congressional hearings, they've confirmed 98% the intel is unanimous, are al-Qaeda, are al-Nusra, are Wahhabist. Wahhabist, out of Saudi Arabia, the dominant religion of Islam, the dominant sect. That's what al-Qaeda, al-Nusra, ISIS is. It's all the same black flag, all the same Arabic, writing, all the same slogans, the same people, the same system, the same plan, the same global operation, the same cancer. So Trump kills that yesterday, and they go even more ape. Look at this Washington Post headline. Trump ends covert CIA program to arm anti-Assad rebels in Syria, a move sought by Moscow. Yes, 5 years ago, General Dempsey, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, went to Obama on Saturday night. We reported it a year before it was in the news. It was confirmed, our sources, both on and off air. Colonel Schaefer was one of them. And they come to him, they say, we're not going to be the al-Qaeda's Air Force. And then Senator Cruz comes out and Rand Paul comes out and says the same thing. And they say, this is wrong. We've got to deal with the Russians to let them come in, kick al-Qaeda and ISIS out. Then they will remove themselves, but they'll keep their deepwater port they've always had in the Mediterranean. They're only one. And then Assad will step aside after elections. We're now 5 years later, and Assad is now making noises of stepping aside after elections. They got a deal with what's left of America in the Pentagon to not be immoral and to not put al-Qaeda in charge of there. That's what happened. And then they turn around and act like Trump's a Russian again. Well, yes, a deal was made by our military and by people in our government with Russia. We told you first. Cy Hirsch, Pulitzer Prize winner, has been on 3 years after we broke it to say we broke it, we were right. I'm not bragging. It's just that's a hat tip. Do you understand? They think you're stupid. They've launched a bunch of fake chemical attacks to blame it on Assad. Because Obama said, I'll go in if you use chemicals. Why would he ever do that when he's winning? And now ISIS is almost beaten. And now they're coming out pushing this garbage and saying now they're looking into all his finances. Oh, was there any campaign finance violations? The FBI is looking into that. Not about Russia. They're looking at bank accounts. They're looking at transactions. They're looking at everything to, quote, find money laundering, to find any discrepancies in campaign money. And they'll call any mistakes they find money laundering. Hillary can openly commit mass crimes, go to Morocco and get 12 million, and then sell out her whole phosphate industry and use taxpayer money, as we've reported, to send 90 million there to pay to move our jobs. That's okay. But Trump actually turns our economy on, restores our republic, follows what the Pentagon actually has a plan to defeat the globalists, and they call him a Russian agent. The only truth is Russia pulled out from the control of the globalist. Russia is breaking free of the New World Order partially. We are too, and other nations are saying, like the UK and Iceland and Sweden and Denmark and Australia and Brazil and all these other places are saying, we want to be free too. We want a nation state that's for our interest, not to be looted by robber barons like Zuckerberg and Bezos. And then they call it Russia to make it something foreign. So every nation trying to pull out from globalism, be it Italy, Greece, Spain, Catalonia, they can say, oh, you don't really want to pull out. The Russians made you do that. And they build the Russians up like they're superheroes. When we come back, we're going to look at McCain and his brain tumor. I'm going to get into John McCain and his fast-acting, very aggressive brain tumor he had removed yesterday, and how Tim Kaine calls him the chairman of their operations, because that's exactly what he is. That's coming up. But something I wanted to mention to everybody here, and I wanted to sink in for the listeners of this transmission. We're on over 200 radio stations, and we're on Facebook and Google and YouTube and a lot of other video platforms. And on every platform, the Democrats and the liberals have organized into groups that go around making false copyright claims and false community claims. Now, I've announced, and I don't want to do this because I'm litigious, I have to. The next person that files a slap suit, the next person that files a fake suit for publicity, I'm going to come down on them like a ton of bricks to defend my free speech and my rights. Because people sue me to get publicity, and then they want to drop the suits right away. In fact, they want to pay me money to drop the suits. But it has to all be secret. That's how this works. And then there's this whole meme put out that I'm fake news and all this garbage. So I understand now I can't get out of the suits. I've got to counter-sue people. So whoever wants to line up next, I'm going to sue you. And I mean really sue you. Depositions, everything. And I'm going to announce this. The next person puts a fake copyright strike, I swear to God on my children, I am going to sue you, and I'm going to sue your companies, and I am going to come after you politically with 100% of the law. You got that? Because during the break, they didn't tell me yesterday when I was doing my workcation, we had the community guidelines, a whole swarm of folks come through, and YouTube is announcing that they're looking at shutting down and basically kicking us off YouTube for people complaining that I've reported on Sandy Hook and had Wolfgang Halbig, a former school safety administrator, on for a debate about whether the official story was true or not. Then the media misrepresents what I say, saying that I say it never happened when I've looked at both sides. But it doesn't matter. I have my right. If I was an idiot, black nationalist racist, I could be a racist black person. If I wanted to be a KKK person, an idiot, I could be that as long as I don't hurt innocent people. And if I wanted to say that I don't believe that babies were thrown out of incubators and had their brains bashed out to get us in the Iraq War, which is true, didn't happen, it's my right to say it. And then I can question big PR events like Sandy Hook when there are major anomalies, like them saying none of the parents were allowed to see their kids that day at the school. Then they had people on NBC saying they held their kid dead at the school. People see that. They see blue screens. They see kids going in circles in and out of the building. They say, looks like a drill. Why were no rescue choppers sent? Why were porta potties there an hour later? I'm not saying it didn't happen because I'm not sure. I don't want to go that far. I've got to be sure. I have a right to question that. But regardless, they want to shut our channel down because of 3-year-old videos. But see, I can't find out who did that specifically. I can sue, and they know. They know I've already got the law firms in D.C. and others ready. They know I'm going to sue whoever files a fake copyright claim on me again. I am going to sue you. I cannot wait. Because people put these fraudulent claims out constantly. It's amazing. And I'm done. I'm done playing games with all these people. Because I'm going to defend the First Amendment. And I'm going to come after the people that violate it. This is a microcosm, going back 10 years ago. I wasn't even on Access TV anymore here in Austin where I started 20-something years ago. But they were getting rid of free speech. They were banning libertarians and conservatives. And I sued them, got the evidence, what was happening. Out of that came a criminal investigation. And the director of it was found guilty of embezzling over $300,000 and sent to the state pen in East Texas. Huntsville. Only spent a couple of years. And it went higher than that in the city, but they killed the investigation. So I'm not a litigious person, but if I do come after you legally, you're going to understand. And Google got caught hiring a company to delist us, and they got caught, and they had to pull back and admitted they did it. And they had us delisted 2 weeks ago where you couldn't see InfoWars at the top, and I told them, I'm going to sue you privately, and they put it back up at the top because they understand I have the audience, not just the money. And we're going to expose you bullies. You understand? Next person, you're sued. So line up. You want to get in a big fat lawsuit with me, whoever you are. I don't care who you are. You make up crap. You lie about us. You try to take my free speech and gag me and take my speech so you can have your way with my family and my children. It isn't happening anymore. Now, we got a little comfortable around here, too, with just having our rights taken. You're like, yeah, they're bullying us, saying we have no free speech. Let's just go back to sleep. Wake up, everybody. We're in a fight against the globalists. They're trying to put our president in prison. They're funding radical Islamists and terrorists and saying our president's a Russian agent because they don't want to fund Al-Qaeda. If they're able to shut us down, they're going to shut everybody else down. If they're able to say Trump's a Russian agent with no proof, they're going to go after everybody. It's going to be a new inquisition. This is a total war, people. Ladies and gentlemen, the way the new globalist system works is If anyone is offended by what you say or do, there's no judge, there's no jury. You're kicked off YouTube, you're kicked off Facebook, you're kicked off Twitter. And then under the Chinese model that Zuckerberg's pushing, you have an internet ID that puts your real-world activities that are tracked digitally by companies and corporations, from your gas bill to going to eat at McDonald's, into an algorithm, and then it gives you a score about what type of person you are. Last year they made a Black Mirror special show basically about how nightmarish that future would be. But this is their plan. So later in the broadcast, we're going to have an article on Infowars.com about strikes on Infowars, blocking our live streaming right now on YouTube, on our regular YouTube channel, the Alex Jones channel, with billions of views, because we had the headline, Zero Hedge discovers anomaly in Alex Jones' hit piece. And it's us showing Megyn Kelly talking to the father of one of the victims, saying he went and held his dead son there at the school. And then it cuts to the coroner, and everybody saying no one was allowed to go in and see the kids. And we just said, see, that's why people ask questions. It's a very nice little piece. But see, oh, you're not allowed to even sit there and point that out. And then there's other ones from years ago. Sandy Hook victim dies again in Pakistan, which shows the photo of one of the kids with people in Pakistan holding up his picture saying he died in a terror attack over there. Clearly showing that was some PR event over there where they were just printing off images of kids and using it. We weren't even saying that that man's child didn't die. We're saying, look at how there's these other PR events, just like the dead babies in the incubators. But they're using Sandy Hook and they're using the victims and their families as a way to get rid of free speech in America. That's the plan. Hillary said it back during the campaign. She was going to get into office. This was going to be their move. They called for, ongoing criminal investigations by the FBI last week into myself, Matt Drudge, and Breitbart with no proof at the Federal Elections Commission. And then the Republicans on the commission killed the ongoing congressional hearings, but still they have the FBI going around doing a counter-espionage investigation to see if we're funded by Russians. Welcome to the witch hunt, folks. A lot of people say, wow, how are you taking it? I'm taking it great. Because, I'm engaging the globalists that have hijacked our country. I'm engaging the globalists that are trying to bankrupt us and turn our power off and jack up our prices and make us feudal serfs. We're fighting for America in a 21st century war, ladies and gentlemen. And it takes getting past the intimidation and getting in their face. That's where the victory is. Getting past the political correctness, getting past being called names. It's not our fault they call us names. It's their fault. They discredit themselves. They're the scum. They're the Antifa out beating up peaceful people on the streets of America and shooting cops in the back. They're the ones engaging in this, not us. They're the ones that want to get rid of free market. They're the ones that hate Christians. They're the ones that call us flyover country and bitter clingers. They're the ones pushing racial division, not us. And worldwide, humanity's awakening. The tide of globalism's going out. Corrupt neoliberalism is hated worldwide. And globalist-owned publications admit that they're in trouble. But they say, we've got to stir up even greater division now. Just as a rearguard action while they basically escape the countries they've destroyed. The New World Order is dead. And signifying that is David Rockefeller, Zbigniew Brzezinski, and now John McCain. I wonder if they'll announce soon that there's a very fast-acting brain tumor in George Soros. The world is watching. The world is waiting as the clock ticks down on judgment on these type of individuals. I wish no harm upon them. They're miserable souls, but they've dealt death, they've dealt corruption, they've dealt anti-American activities, anti-Christian activities. McCain openly funded the Al-Qaeda, ISIS rebels, met with them. And now he's got a fast-acting brain tumor. I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes. But listen, the fact that they're trying to shut us down, the fact that they're trying to ban our speech, the fact that they're trying to set those precedents, that's a badge of honor. That's a badge of courage. That will only make InfoWars bigger. This entire Streisand effect. If our enemies are successful shutting down one of our big YouTube channels, I guarantee you it will only make everything we do and everything we cover that much more explosive. Our YouTube channels, with a combined 4 billion views, and if you count all the other videos out there, it's tens of billions that other people have on their platforms, because I'm copyright free, you can post our material as long as you don't try to monetize it or take it out of context. And I even leave that alone 99% of the time. As long as you're fighting the globalist, I have people post it. And every time they try to suppress us, we only get bigger. I mean, just last week, looking at 6 or 7 videos that we produced or videos I was in, we had over 30 million views just of videos I was in last week. They don't have any way to compete with that. They don't know what to do. Take PewDiePie. Last time I checked, he has close to 18 billion views on one YouTube channel and almost 60 million subscribers. And he was never political, but they tried to call him racist and evil and bad to prepare to shut him down, because the big network executives and folks are jealous that he is able to actually have his free speech and do what he wants, and they're scared he might start becoming political. He might do something. Just like in China, they put you in prison or execute you if you're caught photoshopping Winnie the Pooh with the Chinese president. That somehow became popular over there. It was friendly. It was nice. Folks thought it was cute. You go to prison for that in China. Well, they don't like PewDiePie with his 2 YouTube channels. One channel has almost 16 billion. The other has a couple more billion. Almost 18 billion views. They are threatened by 18 billion views. Nickelodeon's average show only has a couple 100,000 people viewing, but young people and teenagers watch PewDiePie. They don't watch all the Disney programming as much as they watch PewDiePie over in Sweden, who's his own guy. And, of course, PewDiePie's big crime is playing my videos and Paul Watson's videos, and that's the type of thing that scares them. So they say, oh, we're going to demonetize you. Oh, we're not going to let people share your videos. And it only backfires. So I'm going to get into McCain and the rest of it, but here's the bottom line. When I say you need to spread articles and videos and material and information we put out, folks, it's a war. They're actively in mainstream news talking about how they need to shut us down and how we're dangerous. They're in the Washington Post admitting yesterday that we're wildly popular and are exploding as old media is dying. They don't know what to do. And a lot of new media says, oh, great, we'll be bigger if Alex Jones isn't around. That is the most ignorant thinking on the planet. We're in a non-zero-sum game. Everyone that is promoting libertarian free market ideas is only expanding and making the world a better place culturally, economically, spiritually. We're in a war against authoritarianism. We're not in competition. I'm not in competition with Sean Hannity. I'm not in competition with Matt Drudge. I'm not in competition with WorldNet Daily. I'm not in competition with Breitbart. I'm in a total war against the globalist, allied with Orthodox radical Islam that admits it wants to extinguish the free market, open, free society's classical liberalism, and they wrap it all in the term liberalism. We're in a total and complete war. And we're beginning to win. So the enemy's going from their stealth approaches to openly saying silence us, openly saying they're going to gin up evidence that everybody that opposes them is a Russian agent. Or if you don't back Al-Qaeda or ISIS, you're a Russian agent. That's in the Washington Post today. And you say it doesn't make sense. They don't care. They only want to cover for their own people to say we're outsiders and we're bad and to persecute us. This is classical authoritarianism. So I'm going to tell you right now, if you want to fight the globalist, take every article on Infowars.com. Take every video. Copy them to your channel. Put them on your own platform. Play them on your local radio station. You're a station owner, take our broadcast, if you're re-airing it at night, put it on prime time. And listeners, support those local stations. We're in a war. Even if it's just calling them and letting them know, or sending them a $100 donation. And buy products at InfoWarsStore.com so we can do more to have our own platforms. It costs me like $50 grand a month on average just to stream out to millions of people every day at InfoWars.com with our own streams that we're about to upgrade and make even better. They're pretty good, but I'm going to make them even better. We're about to renegotiate a whole other deal for our streams and try to get a better price. The point is, it costs money. People say, oh, well, just have your own videos or have your own social network or do your own thing. We're trying here. We're fighting as hard as we can, but we need your financial support. And we make it easy. Great supplements, great nutraceuticals, great Patriot apparel, great water filtration systems, great air purifier systems, great game-changing products at very competitive prices. Most of it made right here in America, InfoWarsStore.com. And ladies and gentlemen, we have the summer mega specials that are going to have to end today. I have a whole new group of specials tomorrow. But if you want DNA Forces 20% off, if you want X2, if you want these products, you know, I had the specials I was going to do. And Jiminy Cricket, somebody came in here and got in my pile. Here, I found it right here. I'm in a bad mood right now, folks. Super Male Vitality and Survival Shield X2 specials are ending today. Quantities are running low, so act now to save 30% off. And we have free shipping through the month of July, but it's about to end. And I had to already end the product, the Brain Force Plus. I already had to end that special because it was close to selling out. I'm going to have to end the Super Male Vitality, Super Female Vitality, the X2 Survival Shield, and a bunch of the other products that are 20 to 40% off right now at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. We have a little bit of Brain Force left. It'll be probably a month or so till more comes in. So I just, before stuff sells out now, I just go back to regular price, which is already discounted 10%. We've also got some other new products also now available at InfoWarsLife.com, like our new whey protein that is made by one of the largest, biggest, respected organic suppliers in the country, and $5 to $10 less than you'll find for the very same whey we're private labeling that you can buy in major health food stores. But whey is known as the best protein there is from milk. It's organic. It's supercharged. It's got the glutathione and so many other amazing things in it. But it's got the type of glutathione you can actually absorb. Glutathione is absolutely critical. Find out why, going back to the time of Hippocrates, thousands of years ago, the father of modern medicine, he said whey was the most important food and what he prescribed to his patients. True whey protein contains 9 essential amino acids your body needs but cannot produce itself. So check it out for yourself, ladies and gentlemen. It's got the CLA. It's got so many other great products. And it's supporting American dairy farmers right here at home. And it's also grass-fed with non-GMO RBGH. That's the growth hormone free. InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. But as I said, we're going to have to end the specials. This is 25% off out of the gates with the new InfoWars whey protein. We also have 25% off out of the gates with Caveman, the ultimate bone broth formula that's been sold out for months. It's now back in stock as well. And it's also chock full of bee pollen, chaga mushroom, turmeric root, and many other superfoods. And it is the most concentrated, from our research, bone broth formula out there. The ancients were obsessed with bone broth. This is truly amazing. It comes from chicken bones. And this is now the #1 bone broth seller in the country. Research it for yourself. Caveman is now back in stock at InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. That's 888-253-3139. We'll have some new specials tomorrow on some of the other supplements that we do have in stock. But I'm going to have to end that special today. Again, if you want the X2 or if you want the Super Male Vitality and some of the other products that are 25 to 40% off. InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. You can, again, just know this. They hate us. They hate our guts. Hillary hates our guts. Obama hates our guts. They're all coming after us. They're doing everything they can to destroy us. And I just have faith in God, and I have faith in you. But beyond financially supporting us and getting great products you need, if you'll just commit on your email list and on Facebook and on Twitter and on YouTube and on every platform to just point out, InfoWars is under attack. InfoWars is the tip of the spear. If they can shut them down, if they can shut them up, they'll shut everybody up. And in the face of this, that's why I'm launching all these new broadcasts and all these new shows, and all these new Facebook channels and all these new YouTube channels, and we're launching Periscope channels, and we're launching other third-party channels, and we're keeping our video streams and expanding them, and we're launching a new website tomorrow. I'm going to make that announcement now, and I'm going to come back in the next segment and announce the $20,000 winner of the meme contest, just to honor you, the great memes you've made that are fighting the globalists. But whatever you do, get in the information war today and expose these enemies, because they are now openly expanding the, quote, espionage probe of Trump to all of his financials, all of his associates of financials, and saying anything, a check that bounced, they're going to try to move for impeachment against the president. But he has the House, the Senate, the legislative, obviously the executive, the judicial. So these scumbags don't matter unless they can brainwash us into accepting it. He needs to move against them for their criminal activities now. They're sellouts to Communist China. They're sellouts to Russia. He needs to take the gloves off right now. And the word is he's getting ready to. So Hillary and Obama and Clapper and Brennan and all of you, you want to fight? Get ready for a fight, McCain.
In a land of timeless beauty, he was a man of peace.
The fake media tried to stop us from going to the White House, but I'm president and they're not.
But when they threatened his world and the woman he loved, he was driven to war.
Chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Get him out of here! Get out! Go home to mommy. Go home. Bye. You are fake news.
Nation made both these great memes. We're about to tell you the winner. If you're a radio listener. Infowars.com/show.
Superhero landing. She gonna do a superhero landing. Wait for it.
Remember, they're trying to censor all this you're saying.
Yeah, that's really hard on your knees. Totally impractical. They all do it. You're a lovely lady, but I'm saving myself for
Melania.
That's why I brought him.
I'd prefer not to hit a woman, so please play.
I mean, that's why I brought
Sean Spicer.
Oh no, finish your tweet. It's not. That's fine. Just give us a second. Yeah. There you go. Hashtag it. Go get her, Tiger.
The season premiere begins tonight.
That's Trump Nation, and I want to get whoever made those videos on, and I want to hire you. Now, I told Paul Watson he could pick the winner. And personally, I think the Braveheart one is the winner. I would say the one you're about to see that won is second place. And then the last one with the Deadpool, that'd be third place. But Trump Nation did not win. But Trump Nation, I want to hire whoever did the editing. I want you working for us. You work for Trump Nation, too. They're great folks. But David Knight didn't win a reporter contest 5 years ago. But he did win the reporter job. Now he's going to launch his big syndicated show that the word is well over 50 stations are ready to pick it up the first week when it starts on August 22nd. It'll probably get hundreds of affiliates. So very, very excited. See where he is now? So just because you enter and don't win doesn't mean that you lose. So we're going to go to break and come back, and I'm going to play the winner, according to Paul Watson. And I think it's excellent. It's very well done. It's a very close second. I don't think it's the best. But you know what? Paul Watson was the judge. Believe me, we got thousands and thousands of video memes, thousands and thousands more, something like 8,000+ once the contest time ended last Wednesday. So we're going to now start going through all these and posting them, promoting them, and exposing the globalists and fighting for free speech. The answer to them trying to shut us up is to just intensify what you're doing. But listen, don't take the broadcast for granted. I keep explaining that. They are doing everything they can to take our sponsors, to kick us off YouTube. It is just out of control what's going on. And then I'm going to get into McCain, all of it. There's this huge news, second hour, tell everybody tune in. It's an act of resistance. We can overpower them. But you've got to take action. The animating contest of liberty. You are the resistance, and I salute you. For young Chiquitos in Omaha.
For young Chiquitos in Omaha, who's waiting for the band to return from the show.
Feeling good, feeling right.
Feeling right, it's Saturday night.
I gotta stop it. Yeah, these ladies, they had a plan. And Dennis Hastert had a plan too, didn't he? Grab your kids and rape them. So does the Pope's deputy. He got over 100 kids reportedly and procured them out to all the little devil-worshiping rape gangs. Those devil worshippers love to get those priest robes and rape kids. It's all part of defiling everything, overthrowing reality, destroying the flower of the youth until they die and enter hell. Now, let's get to the winner. Drum roll, ladies and gentlemen. The winner, by contested decision. Chris Killer did a great job putting this together. He's launching a new YouTube channel. Don't Dox Me, Bro. That is a great name. I want to work with this guy. I want to work with him, too. I'm telling you, he's a close second, but he's the winner. $20,000 to Don't Dox Me, Bro. Name of the video. Well, he only sent it to us. He's never uploaded it yet. Now he's doing it. We did. It is Official InfoWars CNN Meme War 20K winner. I'm going to re-upload it to Facebook with a cool name. I mean, what is it? Trump is our Toto. Trump broke the matrix. Trump flipped the paradigm. Trump exposed that we're living in a false reality. I mean, I don't know. Here is the winner of the 2017 Round 1 Meme War. $20K winner. Announced. You are fake news. Once you know they're a joke, it's all over. You're a bitter cleaner. I was going to make sure you got sterilized. Break the fluoride. No, who do you think you are? The world belongs to us. I went to this late. We're going to come back and play it all. We got a special guest, a ton of news. We'll talk about McCain straight ahead. Michael Snyder is with us for the next 30 minutes, and the founder and one of the owners of Compound Media, who just went to Iraq to actually witness the final days of Al-Qaeda and ISIS under President Trump and the military's bombardment. He'll be joining us as well. But Michael Snyder has written a story today that's up on Infowars.com and on his website, MichaelSnyderForCongress.com. Getting Trump elected was not enough. We need 1,000 Liberty candidates to run for office all over the nation, and he's doing it. I think it's in Utah, with his millions of readers and followers. And whether he wins or loses, he wins by participating, by educating people in the process. The Democrats are in the news today swearing they're going to take Texas, by fraud. So realize what we're going to live under if the globalists win. The Republican establishment has killed the repeal of Obamacare because they wrote it. That's what I always tell Democrats. Big banks wrote Obamacare bipartisanly to screw you. They're on C-SPAN bragging, saying, thank God you're so dumb. Healthcare's worse than it's ever been. It's designed to wreck it. In fact, here's Senator Rand Paul talking about it.
The insurance industry doubled their profit under Obamacare. They made $6 billion a year before Obamacare. They now make $15 billion. My concern is that we're going to pass a Republican bill and we're going to make their profits $30 billion a year. It's not the job of government to be doling out money to private industry. So what I've said is that if you insist that you want it, they should put that on a separate bill that Democrats like. Democrats typically like spending bills. Put it on a spending bill and put the repeal, make it more of a repeal bill, and I'll vote for it. But, and I still think it's not perfect, but I'll vote for something less than perfect as long as it's not obnoxious. And obnoxious to me is subsidizing rich corporations.
Okay. That's right, that use government to make you buy it and then limit competition to jack the price up, and then the left runs around. 1 year after Obamacare got partially implemented 3 years ago, I was reading the Wall Street Journal on an airplane, and it was insurance companies bragging. It was like headline, lobbyists love Obamacare. It was like, globally, our profits up 47% just on the American people's backs. Worldwide, 47% increase in profits. It was like 2015. I mean, galactic level screw jobs. Now, joining us is Michael Snyder, who is so on target. I mean, I saw CNN with the headlines. Trump's done 900-plus tweets since he was elected 6 months ago, but no major legislation, because most of what they've done is executive tyranny. TPP, open borders, carbon taxes. He's devastated them. We've got a Supreme Court justice that isn't a total communist. We've got 69%, it was 63%, down illegals coming across, and felons are down even more. Deportations of felons way up. The economy trying to battle back. I mean, I don't want to just sit here and cheerlead Trump, but it's a total war. They have the FBI former director brought in by the Democrats and the globalists, put in there by Sessions that I guess balked and choked. And I got to agree with Trump. I mean, you know, Sessions be going after them for all the crimes they committed. Where are 5 or 6 special counsels or criminal counsels? Special prosecutors, not just counsels, should be all over Hillary, because if Trump did something, which he hasn't, it's like a microscope finding a little dot of dirt, while a whole cesspool sewage treatment plant with just oceans of sludge, it makes the head spin. And now Mueller is saying that they're looking at all the finances of all his campaign, all his associates, all his businesses. You're going to find something. I got 70-something crew members. They're great people. I bet people bounce checks. I bet there's some folks smoking some pot. I bet somebody did something wrong before. I mean, imagine if you had tens of thousands of employees. This is a new word for dragnet, fishing expedition, witch hunt to infinity. Michael Snyder, this is an incredible time to be alive, is it not?
It really is, Alex. And you know, people need to understand that we are in a war because the establishment, they want to destroy Donald Trump. It's kind of like a foreign body has invaded the system, and they want to get that foreign body out of their system.
And they know they're losing. They know they're losing, so they're going to go after everybody. Once they get him, it's everybody else. This is a death battle. Sorry.
Oh, you're right, Alex. That's why they're going after you. They want to shut InfoWars down because they know how effective you've been. They want to shut me down, the Economic Collapse blog. They want to shut all of us in the alternative media down. They want to get rid of us because they saw the power we had in the last election. So we're actually in a war for the future of this country, and we don't have to settle for the future of the globalists. You know, I talk to a lot of people that are awake, and they're saying, oh, the globalists, they're too powerful. We can't defeat them. One world government is coming. Well, you know what? We don't have to settle for that. We don't have to just sit back and take whatever they take. You know, our founding fathers, if we would have had a defeatist attitude back then, if our founding fathers had said, no, we can't take on the mighty British Empire, and the rest of the world thought we were crazy when our founding fathers said, we're going to take on the mighty British Empire, we're going to declare independence. They put everything on the line, and because they did, because they were willing to risk it all, the United States of America exists today.
Take Vietnam. Ho Chi Minh first wanted to be a capitalist. He was a communist during World War II. He was our ally. They didn't want to make a deal with him because the French and others wanted the opium and to exploit the classically free market Vietnamese. And so despite the fact that we spent the equivalent of trillions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of troops, we couldn't beat them because they refused to submit, and they had a communist ideology. If you refuse to submit with a Christian, conservative, libertarian, free market renaissance, you cannot be defeated.
And that's what we need to do. We need to work together. And that's why I love InfoWars so much, because you're all about working together. Those that love liberty, those that love freedom, those that love the Constitution. If we work together, we can win. Donald Trump showed us that we could win the presidency. Here in Idaho, if everybody listening to this program today that lives in my district votes for me, I'm going to win no matter what. We just got to get everybody out to the polls and involved, because we are going to win, because we have the numbers. We're waking more people up every day. My websites, your show, people all over the country, we're raising up an army, and we can do this if we work together.
And by the way, you know, I have a small crew. I've been meaning to do it. Will you call my crew today? I want to carry your books because I've read several. They're all excellent. But you're living a life that really matters, things like that. And you're doing just such important work. And again, I'm so glad that despite the fact you've been successful in your own private business and successful in education and successful, you know, in news, that you're running for Congress. I mean, this is really such a manly thing to do. I don't mean to be cheesy. Being manly means putting your family on the line, putting your name out there, and getting engaged and involved, because you've got a great family, I know. So we just admire what you're doing, Michael.
Well, thank you, Alex. And even though I just announced I'm running officially 2 weeks ago, the attacks are already coming in. They're already attacking me. They're attacking the people I'm associated with. And so I'm already, it's kind of like walking into a hornet's nest, but we've got to do this, because I believe this is the most critical time. If they end up, if the Democrats take control, if they impeach Trump, if they get rid of him, and they start shutting down alternative media, we could lose everything. But if 1,000 people all over the country start running for office, taking back state legislatures, taking back Congress, taking back the powers of structure all over the country, we can have a revolution and turn this country back to limited government, liberty, freedom, the Second Amendment, the things we care about, the things we've been fighting about for 7 years. You know, Alex, my articles have been appearing on Infowars.com for 7 years now. We've been fighting together. We've been fighting this battle. We've been trying to wake people up, you know, and now we need to go to the next stage, because now the war has got hotter than ever before. And if we don't win, the elite, the globalists, they are going to try to totally destroy us.
You're absolutely right. Michael Snyder. Let's talk about the Mueller situation, because Trump has got to go with his instincts. He's absolutely right. They got bamboozled. They got hoodwinked. They got stampeded. And I really like Senator Sessions into this recusal so that his deputy could then put Mueller in. If it was somebody else that wasn't best friends with Comey, didn't cover up for the Bushes and the Clintons, then I would say, okay, have a special counsel. If Mueller presided for a decade over some of the greatest abuses bipartisanly we've ever seen, he took off the list radical Islam and would not let the FBI investigate radical jihadis and basically ordered them to stand down. That's confirmed. This guy is a globalist. You've got Brennan, you've got Clapper. They're all just incredibly arrogant. I want to get into that, but first let's get into McCain. I don't wish harm on anybody, and I've had family that have had cancer and brain tumors. It's no joke. I also know from a friend who had a brain tumor and didn't make it, They got very aggressive, very paranoid the last year of their life before they even knew they had a brain tumor. Then it killed them in about 2 months once they learned about it. McCain has been acting very erratic the last year. He's been acting very crazy. Remember back at the Comey hearing, people said, even his own supporters said something's wrong with him. But this is a guy that was part of the Keating Five. This is a guy who wants to say everybody that is against him is a Russian agent. This is a guy who funded al-Nusra, al-Qaeda, and ISIS and went and met with them in Syria and admitted it. This is a guy in the news through his proxy saying Trump's a Russian agent. That's in the Washington Post today because he is working with Russia to take out ISIS and al-Qaeda. That predates Trump getting in. The Pentagon made that deal. So now battling radical Islam, you're supposedly ISIS, or battling radical Islam, you're supposedly a Russian agent. That's the Washington Post saying that today. This has reached new levels. He's got this brain tumor. Some people might say it's foul play. They do have viral-based weaponized cancer. You can actually spray on somebody that they can breathe. That actually does create these type of cancers in the cerebral cortex. But, McCain's old. This is probably naturally occurring. Though brain cancers of this type have massively increased. SV40, that's in a lot of the vaccines, has also been linked to this. That's one reason this cancer has increased. So we can use his tragedy to hopefully inform some people. And, I hope McCain gets right with God. I don't wish any harm against any living thing. I don't take pleasure, out of a cow dying, even if I eat a steak. But I don't take pleasure in an evil person having a brain tumor because I still have empathy for them. But talk about an omen. David Rockefeller, the founder of modern world government, founder of the modern UN. David Rockefeller dead this year. Zbigniew Brzezinski, one of his top generals for world government, dead. And now we see McCain, the current, Tim Kaine called him the leader of their movement, their chairman. And he is quarterbacking the attempt to stop the Make America Great Again movement. So just as an omen, what do you make? And I just wonder, will George Soros get fast-acting cancer, not delivered by patriots in the CIA, but by God?
Well, Alex, a lot of these neocons, a lot of these globals, they are getting older. They're dinosaurs now, and they're starting to die off. They're starting to retire. And so we need to replace them with fresh blood. But with McCain, I found it interesting that he has brain cancer because something else that's been linked to cancer are cell phones. And what I've been finding out is that as I've been digging into this, members of Congress, they spend more time out of their day on the phone than anything else. In fact, when new members of Congress, when they go, what they're told is they're supposed to spend about 2 hours a day on the floor and in committee actually doing their jobs, and they're actually supposed to spend about 4 hours a day on the phone dialing for dollars. 60 Minutes did a big expose of this, where what they do, they spend more time, our members of Congress, when they're working, they spend more time during the day dialing for dollars. They spend more time during the day calling people up, asking for money than anything else. And that's when they're working. Members of Congress only, for example, the House will only...
Exactly, and Johnny Cochran died from the type of brain tumor that's associated with cell phones. It was confirmed decades ago in rat studies that it does heat up the DNA, it causes it to rattle, and then it breaks the chains, then that causes mutations in the brain tissue. Everybody should be using hands-free. No one should let their kids be on these unless they're using it hands-free or Bluetooth, and it's still dangerous. You're absolutely right. But notice the Atlantic can say, did it give him a brain tumor? Because they're establishment media. If we say cell phones are linked, it's a conspiracy theory. But they are having that debate now.
Oh, it's very true. And so people need to be aware when you're holding that cell phone up to your head for endless hours, you're literally cooking your brain at a very low level. But but these members of Congress, they spend more time on the phone than anything else. That's when they're working. The House of Representatives, Alex, will only be in session for 147 days this year. That means they have 218 days off. They work for less than 3 days a week. And when they're working, like I said, most of the time they're on the phone. The Republicans and the Democrats, they're not allowed to make calls directly from their own offices, so they've got these giant call centers very close to the Capitol. And what they do, the reason why you almost always see the House chamber, the Senate chamber empty, because they're all over at these call centers. They're calling people, trying to raise money for the next election, trying to keep the establishment in power. That's how Congress really works.
That's right. And major courts have ruled that cell phones are causing brain cancer. It's a fact. Just like glyphosate literally grows cancer, but they told us it was healthy to drink. This is incredible. Why have the elites allowed glyphosate, cell phones, all of this Wi-Fi, all of it, when they know specifically it rattles DNA into pieces? Then when you have DNA in pieces, that is a mutation. Cancer, of course, is the most classic mutation with malignant tumors.
Well, I think for some of the same reasons why they're putting fluoride in the water. They know fluoride is a neurotoxin. They know that it has effects on the development of young children. They know that it's dumbing down the population, but they put it in there anyway. They say it's good for our teeth, when it shows no, it actually causes some very serious conditions for teeth. Now we got children all over the country with those little white spots on their teeth. That's from the fluoride in the water.
And the American Dental Association says children under 6 should not brush their teeth with fluoride, and the media calls me a conspiracy theorist when that's the American Dental Association 6 years ago forced to come out and say that in like 2011. People can pull that up, and admitting it increases bone cancer in boys, admittedly causes lower IQs, Harvard study, but they don't care. They just call us conspiracy theorists.
Yeah, or Alex, vaccines in California, where they passed that bill making it mandatory to have vaccines if you want to go to public school. Now they want to bring out a bill where it's going to make it mandatory for every child in California to get vaccines. You know, and these laws are starting to spread all over the nation. There's talk that they want to start pushing them here in Idaho, a deeply red state. We've got to fight this. We've got to let people know these vaccines. You know, why is autism just exploded because of these vaccines? Kids are getting shot with these vaccines.
And by the way, there are thousands of studies admitting thimerosal causes autoimmune results in the brain and other things, and they just say conspiracy, conspiracy. A vaccine is safe and effective. Never hurt anybody. The insert says it can kill you or cause an autoimmune disorder or give you type 1 diabetes by killing your pancreas. On and on and on and on and on and on and on. But people won't read the insert. They just say conspiracy theory. It doesn't matter. While you were talking, we put Scientific American on. We put even the Washington Post on, even CNN on. Even Newsweek admit all this now. We've been totally vindicated. But they pre-tell you it won't hurt you to make you comfortable so that your brain decides it's safe, like them telling folks cigarettes were good for your lungs in the 40s and 50s, even though they knew it caused cancer, so that you go ahead and get addicted to the cell phones, go ahead and give them to your kids, and then later to cover their ass, they tell you actually it kills you. So I tell you, very diabolical plan by these lawyers.
Yeah, and then something else that's in our water, Alex, is all the pharmaceutical drugs, where, you know, we're the most drugged up society in the history of the world, but all of that gets into the water. And so a major study was done not too long ago where they looked at the water, they looked for traces of pharmaceutical drugs, and they found that more than half of the water systems in the entire country have more than 24 different traces of pharmaceutical drugs in them.
And it's causing massive mutations in mammals, amphibians, fish, you name it. And they make big jokes out of that as well. Since you mentioned it, let's go ahead and go to this clip. Former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper totally sold out the country. Trump is making Russia great again in Ukraine. I mean, Soros overthrew an elected government. They started a civil war. Russia just took control of the East and their pipelines. This is making Russia great again. Here it is.
Do you think our president is helping Russia be great again?
Yeah, in a way, I guess he is. Particularly if as Putin, you know, gets his way in Syria, and if nothing is done to push back on the Russians in Ukraine, yes.
Helping the Russians push back in Ukraine when George Soros and the State Department, Obama, overthrew the elected government. Look at this Washington Post headline. Trump ends covert CIA program to arm anti-Assad rebels in Syria, a move sought by Moscow. Sought by our Pentagon that testified to Congress in closed session 5 years ago that we then had guests on and was later confirmed. Yes, Russia is against radical Islam too. Yes, we shouldn't be funding the very rebels we're fighting. I mean, again, if Trump puts his shoes on right, they claim the Russians did it. If Trump doesn't want everybody to live under Islamic rule, it's the Russians. Yes, the Russians are against radical Islam too. What do you make of this, Michael Snyder?
Well, I'm so glad that Trump made that move. It's a giant step in the right direction. But you know what? The neocons, both Democrats and Republicans, they want us to be the police of the world. And that's why we need more people like Ron Paul, who says, we can't be the police of the world. First of all, we can't afford to do that. And secondly, when we keep poking our nose in everywhere, then we have to send our boys and girls over there to bleed and die. And, you know, and the rest of the world's starting to hate us because we're constantly interfering. We're constantly starting wars. We're constantly, the military-industrial complex constantly wants more war. They constantly want more
And
funding.
finally, Trump is over there cleaning up Obama's mess in the Middle East, cleaning up the North Korean mess. It's a president that's pragmatically actually pro-free market and not a pedophile and not out to get us. Michael Snyder for Congress.com. Folks should support you and get involved in that. It's we the people that are backing you if you win, not the Russians. Again, they're telling us we're all losers. You didn't know the Russians had your wife have that baby, too. And when you breathe, Mr. Schneider, it's not you breathing. The respirator is provided by the Russians as well. And when I got up this morning and made eggs for my family, that was the Russians as well. Ladies and gentlemen, you didn't elect Trump. It was the Russians. Michael Snyder, thank you so much. We have the founder of the rebel media straight ahead. Stay with us. The only way the globalists can win is if you remain asleep. I'm committed. Sworn to avenge. I'm Alex Jones, your host. And I am the Sentinel. We're all, no matter what color we are, where we came from. If we want justice, if we love truth, if we love to take care of the innocent, if we want to be honorable, if we want to be strong, if we want to take on bullies, then that's the spirit God put in you. That's the light shining out in the dark. We're all brothers and sisters in that fight. We're getting our next guest on. Got a bunch of other guests today. Ton of news to get to. But there's no doubt now they're coming after Trump. A corrupt, evil Mueller who covered up for just outrageous Islamic terror, crimes, Clinton corruption, espionage for the communist Chinese, is now saying they're going to look into every bank account, every transaction, stuff that's non-Russia related, trying to bring down President Trump because he told the special interests that had hijacked our country and transferred the power to the TPP and to NAFTA and GATT and these international agreements. He said, no, we're not turning off all our coal and nobody else does. We're not going to have wide open borders and order the Border Patrol not to stop people coming across illegally. And that's down 69%. And so they're panicking. Now, briefly, we got free shipping until the end of July. And we're selling out a lot of the best-selling items like Super Male Vitality, X-Tube, Brain Force Plus. So I've already stopped selling Brain Force Plus at 30% off. I just had to because we're about to sell out. Probably be out of it for like a month. So those specials are going to end today on Super Male, on X2, the good halogen that goes in and obviously blocks the bad halogen fluoride. It's amazing. That's the cleanest, purest iodine out there from deep earth crystal sources. We have Caveman. That's the ultimate bone broth paleo diet formula. And by paleo diet, I mean what the ancients ate across the board, knowing the bones had all the trace minerals, the elements in it, the cofactors, the stem cells, all of it. And then you've got the chaga mushroom and the rest of it in there. It's simply the very best out there. The turmeric, the bee pollen, and many other high-quality ingredients that help for healthy muscles, bones, fights free radicals, and so much more. Caveman is back in stock after being sold out for months. And this is now the top bone broth seller in the country. And bone broth, as you know, is very, very hot. But compared to just something you cook on your stove, this is very many times more concentrated. It is chocolate naturally flavored. It's all organic. InfoWarsLife.com. Caveman is back in stock. And other brands of bone broth formulas are, in some cases, twice as much, usually about 20% more. So it's also a very, very good deal. Then you're funding this operation and our expansion. InfoWarsLife.com, InfoWarsStore.com, or 888-253-3139. But a lot of the specials are going to have to end today. The free shipping continues throughout the month. Take advantage of that. We now have one of the top manufacturers of organic whey from grass-fed, non-GMO cattle with none of the growth hormones, none of it. We now have one of the top brands in the country, lets us private label it. And again, it is way less expensive than it would be in stores, buying it direct from us, private labeled, true whey protein. So we know we're under a microscope, plus we want you to get great products so you come back and get them again. It's a win-win. This is one of the top makers in the country. We private label it. It's super high quality, totally tested, true whey protein, premium quality with 9 essential amino acids. Just came out today, InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. And they do have community guidelines like the old Soviet Union. Oh, the community doesn't like you. You're gone now. And Google's in trouble for doing this. They got antitrust suits going on where they let leftist groups, and they expunge the internet for Hillary and cover up all her corruption and Obama and the rest of it, where they let these little knighted groups, these little super mods, go around and say, oh, we find this offensive, oh, we find that offensive, and then just put a strike on your account and they're set to shut down our channel, which is, I've already told Google before, and the last time they pulled this and they backed off, lawsuit's ready. We've got your internal documents where you hired the company to delist us. We got a bunch of other stuff too, which is fine. And I know it's a big, huge corporation and everything else. You let your little communist mods go around and do that. You give us the standing, take down the channel with billions of views, and you are going to have a big publicized, big, fat, juicy, successful lawsuit on your butt. And you think the stuff in Europe's big? Just get ready. I don't want to sue people, but it's all ready, and I'm done. So you people thinking you're having a victory out there trying to shut us down, just get ready. And the next person puts a false copyright claim in too. I promised, and it's ready. I'm going to sue you. It's got to be done. I've made the decision. I'm done. Oh, and people that like to sue us and then secretly pay us to drop the lawsuit, I figured that scam out, where you want to make it look like we're fake news. You're going to get sued too. Anybody else, false lawsuits, you're getting sued. Guaranteed. Set your watch and warrant by it. Put it in the bank. You can guarantee it. You can guarantee it. Now, joining us is an individual who was successful in libertarian conservative media in Canada. And, of course, Inside Shenanigans went on to blow that up. And he joins us, Ezra Levant, founded the Rebel.media. It reaches hundreds of millions of people now every month. And they've had their share of folks trying to censor them and shut them down. They're international. I really admire their lineup of folks, from Tommy Morrison right through to Gavin McInnes and so many others. Again, I'm not in competition with the Rebel. I'm glad they're there. We're in this together. TheRebel.media, it's subscription-based, just like you buy our products to support us. You just subscribe with them, and you're building a new media. And the more of us there are, the better. The safer it is. So he just got back. We almost sent Joe Biggs to do this, but it fell through. And other groups are involved, to go in with former special forces and some patriots. We'll just leave it at that. I know about other groups, not this particular one. But I know for a fact Eric Prince does good stuff out there. They call him a mercenary. He's not, in my view. He's exposing the pedophile rings, you name it. I don't know if that's the group financed him. But to go in and actually save Christians being murdered, slaughtered, put into sex slavery in the few cities left that ISIS/Al-Qaeda has control of. So that's something I know Eric Prince has been doing for years behind the scenes, saving thousands and thousands of Christians every few months. Well, this gentleman went into Iraq, into the most dangerous areas. Ezra Levant, he just got back. So, again, we want to thank him for his courage and what he's doing to talk about this. And the Washington Post saying Trump's a Russian agent today, basically, for going along with the Pentagon program that's 5 years old of not backing ISIS and telling the Democrats no. They're now saying that that's a Russian program helping Moscow, that we're not backing the Wahhabist ISIS, al-Nusra, al-Qaeda. Well, you just came back from there where they admittedly sometimes rape little girls to death. So Ezra Levant, founder of the Rebel.media, thanks for joining us.
Well, Alex, it's a pleasure to be here. And first of all, thank you for your kind words about the Rebel. You're a real trailblazer in alternative media, and that's what we need these days, to cover stories that are off the official narrative. And Alex, the media and politicians and diplomats never stop talking about Muslim migrants. They call them Syrian refugees. Most aren't Syrian, most aren't true refugees. But ignored are the Christian refugees
who are actually at risk of genocide. Here's a quick fact for you. In 2017, the official United Nations budget to help Muslim refugees is $4.7 billion. But no one is waging a genocide against Muslims. There's no ethnic cleansing of Muslims, but there is ethnic cleansing of Christians in the Middle East, and they're not even allowed to go to these UN refugee camps because those UN refugee camps are dominated by Muslim extremists. The Christians, if they flee there, will be violently assaulted there. So these Christians are forgotten. And we went to these ancient Christian towns where they're literally being ethnically cleansed by Muslim terrorists.
Break it down, because this is simply amazing. These are the forgotten people.
Yeah. I mean, these are ancient Christians who actually still pray in Aramaic. That is Jesus's language. Some of these Christian communities have been there for 1,400, 1,500, 1,600 years, and it used to be a Christian area, just like Egypt used to be Christian, just like Turkey used to be Christian. Istanbul used to be called Constantinople. But over time, wave after wave of Muslim jihad has ethnically cleansed the Christians. They kill the men, and they take the women as rape slaves, because that is officially permitted in the Quran. And so I met a Yazidi woman in Germany when I was on another trip. Yazidis are not Christians. They're not Muslims. They're an individual ethnicity, but they have blonde hair and blue eyes, Alex. So the Muslim terrorists prize these women as rape slaves. I met a Yazidi rape slave who said she lost track after she was raped 240 times. And you have to understand, in the Islamic State, that's not a crime. That's actually officially sanctioned. That's one of the ways they pay their terrorists, is in stolen property.
And Linda Sarsour won't even come out and criticize it.
No, and what breaks my heart, Alex, is I went to these Christian towns and I saw these all Christian refugee camps. These people are completely ignored. Politicians, the media, diplomats, NGOs, they favor the Muslim refugees, but they ignore the Christians. I say we've got to sort the lambs from the wolves, Alex. Most of the people flooding into Europe are not lambs. They're wolves.
Well, even Interpol admitted 80% are military-age men. But expanding on that, I've seen the statistics where less than 1%, in fact, it was just a few sub-points, of the refugees are Christian. And then Obama, jokingly about a year ago, said, well, we just can't only let in the Christians, we got to let in the Muslims. But in truth, he laughed about it because he knows the UN program discriminates and doesn't even let Christians get out because they're slated for extermination. Why is that?
Well, it goes back to the Quran. The Quran talks about converting any infidels. And so when we were in Iraq, we saw an Islamic State edict. Remember, the Islamic State, it's like a proto-country. So they have judicial announcements that are called fatwas. And any Christians in these little towns that have been there for more than 1,000 years, Alex, they're given an ultimatum: either flee, pay the jizya tax of submission, or be killed by the sword. So this is rooted in the Quran. And they kill the men, they rape the women. I went to a church in the little Christian town of Batnaya that was conquered by ISIS, held for 2 years, and only recently liberated. The Christians have not yet returned to this ancient town. I went into the church and I saw anti-Christian graffiti like, "We will kill you, leave or be killed, this is Muslim property, there are no Christians allowed in the Islamic State." It was written in Arabic, but it was also written in German. And that tells me, Alex, that there were German Muslims who went to Iraq to rape and plunder and desecrate these churches.
And under this whole Islamic rebellion, Arab Spring that the Democrats, the globalists, the NATO and others, and the UN have been behind publicly, military-age men go like on Hajj, basically, but jihad, where it's like a pillaging, raping vacation where they go out to earn their bones and have their rites of passage raping, killing, murdering. I mean, this is all admitted, and the UN brags that this is all part of their replacement plan for Europeans. I mean, why is the left so in love with Orthodox Islam?
Well, I suppose it's the same reason that the left was so sympathetic to the Soviets during the Cold War. Leftists always side with the most acute enemy of Western civilization. Until the fall of the Berlin Wall, leftists sided with the Soviets because they thought, well, that's the counterweight to Western civilization. Today, it's radical Islam. So it's not just that the radical Islam is an enemy of the West. It also is an opportunity for these virtue-signaling leftists to show how open-minded they are, that they will tolerate their own enemies. What's so ironic to me, and this is what I never understand.
That's why we've seen a lot of these leftist women go to be the sex pleasure objects, including quite attractive women from all over Europe and the U.S., go to literally live in fleas and ticks with guys that wipe their butts with their left hands and just stink like pig demons. But women just go and worship the filthiness and worship the fleas and ticks and lice. I'm not kidding. These women are just loving this because I guess they're so cuckolded from men groveling and kissing their butts in the West and putting them on a pedestal. They don't like that. But to be savagely just treated like slaves, they love it.
It's terrifying in Mosul, which is the big city that the Islamic State recently lost to Allied forces. There were some Canadian women who voluntarily went out there. They either go to be halal prostitutes to service these men, or they're duped in some way, or they want to be part of the jihad. It's really troubling. But you make a good point. A lot of these terrorists, they come from the West, go to Syria and Iraq, they get a taste of terrorism, rape, murder, defacing Christian objects.
And then they come back to Europe and go to the anti-racism concerts to openly rape, and the police just stand there and guard the raping, and then judges rule, well, this is a Muslim. He's allowed to rape. It's his culture.
Well, and the thing is, they're coming back as battle-hardened veterans in a way because they did it in Iraq and Syria, so they've tasted blood. And whatever moral compunction they might have had, they're over it. So they're numb to violence. They love it. They practice it. And now they've returned to the West. And throughout Europe, and we've seen this, terrorist attacks in Belgium and France in particular have been from ISIS terrorists who learned their trade in Iraq and Syria and have come back to the West.
And you know what's crazy? We have Ezra Levant, the founder of the Rebel.media, amazing television radio network, news site that's reaching tens of millions a day now. We're not exaggerating. I can't come up with words to describe how much worse it is than we're saying, because by the minute more insanity comes out. I mean, we have videos in Sweden and Germany of them holding women down and lines of men raping them, and the police are 50 feet away and do nothing. I mean, they literally rape little kids in pools, and the police say, well, that's their culture. I mean, it is just insane asylum. I'm just wondering. And then meanwhile, they're saying Trump's a Russian agent because he just killed the Obama program to arm ISIS. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Ezra Levant from the Rebel.media, the founder of it. We should have him back on soon about his whole story, having his successful kind of the Fox News of Canada, but more libertarian. That all got shut down even though it was successful, and he started this a year and a half ago or so. But just getting back to Iraq and what's happening, as the final cities of the liberal, globalist, Saudi Arabian-backed ISIS fall, we have the Washington Post saying Trump ends covert CIA program to arm anti-Assad rebels in Syria, a move sought by Moscow. Well, the Pentagon said stop doing it 5 years ago to Obama. So just because Russia's aligned, not wanting to back radical Islam, blowing up every church, sex slaving everyone, how does that make Trump bad? I mean, I've got Democrats all over the news now saying, no one's allowed to talk to Russians. Why, Trump at a dinner at the G20 talked to Putin. It was a dinner. They seated his wife by him. The G20 did it on purpose, probably, to say Trump was some agent. They're trying to paralyze the president. How do you think all this is going?
Yeah. Well, I tell you, it has been terrifying that all of these so-called militias in Syria, they have undermined Bashar Assad, who I'm not going to say he was a good man in any way, but he was at least a protector of the Christians. Same way, I mean, and without him, look at the anarchy. Same thing in Libya. Muammar Gaddafi, not a liberal civil rights lover like we expect in the West, but at least he held back the Islamist wave. Same with Hosni Mubarak in Egypt. So we made the perfect the enemy of the good. I'm not saying I would like to live under any of these Arab dictators, but the hell that was unleashed when they were toppled was far worse. And let me say, the Christian community in Iraq, it really is being ethnically cleansed. That's why we went over there. Alex, I'm a Jew. And so I looked at this ethnic genocide against Christians through the eyes of someone who understood the Holocaust. And I see so many analogies.
Or the Armenian genocide. It touches everybody's heart to just see people being, whole families hunted down, the men killed, the women raped, murdered, thrown away.
Well, and that's the thing. Armenia was just north of there. So these Christians have a really tough go. So we went there to document the Christian genocide and to bring a little bit of humanitarian relief. And if people want to see our videos, they can go to SaveTheChristians.com. We've put up about 15 videos, including from these destroyed churches. You can see them at SaveTheChristians.com. And if you want to help with our humanitarian efforts, you can do that too. And I want to tell the story of these Christians because so many people ignore it. They're obsessed with the Muslim refugees. No one's killing Muslims.
You're absolutely right. And again, the UN's basically not letting Christians get out. We should do another video showing, remember Obama laughing last year going, oh, we can't let the Christians out. We can't just take care of them. No, he's blocking them on purpose because he is a closet Islamicist. It's been proven.
Yeah. Well, and hopefully those numbers will change now that Donald Trump is choosing the refugees. But
like so you said, the Christians can't go to the refugee camps to begin with because they'll be killed by the religion of peace.
Yeah, that's true. Well, listen, Alex, I appreciate you spreading the word about this, and thank you for your kind words. We're going to keep up this fight because it's the one group it's okay to demonize in Western civilization is Christians, and it ought not to be that way. And I know you stand up for their civil rights, and we do too, my friend.
Absolutely. Well, folks can find out more, again, at therebel.media. And I absolutely, for the Nightly News, want to get you back on and review some of the boil down or highlights of the amazing videos you've got posted. This is real journalism and dangerous. So thanks for doing that, Ezra Levant.
Thank you, my friend.
All right, hour number 3. We're going to get to a ton of news I haven't hit. More on McCain, more on the witch hunt against Trump, more on the economy, so much more.
Thank you.
We've got Jon Rappoport coming up, too. Stay with us. At the bottom of the hour, I'm going to take some of your phone calls. We're going to be joined by Jon Rappoport coming up here in the next segment. Nancy Cumia going to host the 4th hour. John McCain, I'm not a fake, and so I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I am having nightmares over the fact that John McCain has a big fat brain tumor or had it removed and that it's probably not going to be operable and that he won't be with us for too much longer. Just not going to lie to you and tell you I'm losing sleep over it. But I'm also not going to tell you I'm glad he's dying, because I'm not. I'm very, very sad for John McCain. He is a very, very twisted person. He's been compromised since the Keating 5, which was totally illegal, ripping people off with fake bonds. And you go back to Hanoi Hilton, where he was taken care of for giving them all the secrets. That's been confirmed. The guy is not a hero in my view. Of course, Donald Trump knows that when he said that McCain's no hero. His dad was an admiral, the head of the Pacific Fleet. He's a consummate insider. But that said, death is the great equalizer. And I don't take pleasure when I heard David Rockefeller died. I don't take pleasure when I heard Zbigniew Brzezinski died. I won't take pleasure when I hear that George Soros is dead. But I'll tell you this, I will feel relief. Because these are very, 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 very bad people. And I'm not going to play along with everybody that's virtue signaling, saying, oh, our hopes and prayers go out to John McCain. And just for the mere reason of sounding like I'm a loving, compassionate person. Because it's hard to say nice things about John McCain when he's so evil and funded Al-Qaeda and funded ISIS and did all this. The Bible says pray for your enemies. So I can't help but say pray for John McCain. But I don't even like saying it. I'm just being honest. But I guess pray he wakes up, pray he, turns around, and there's some good left in him, and that he repents for funding and supporting the massive Middle Eastern destabilization, turning radical Islam loose on other Muslims, Christians, you name it. I mean, it's just the guy quarterbacked, as Tim Kaine said. He's the chairman. In fact, let's pull up Tim Kaine's tweet. I saw it last night at about 7:30, right when it went out. So I was searching McCain news when the brain tumor news broke. There it is. Thinking about my hero, my chairman, my friend, John McCain, stay strong, his chairman. Because let me tell you something. He is chairing not just committees. He's chairing the operation to bring down the Make America Great movement and to put the deep state back in full control. And he's all about bringing in radical Muslims and going after our guns, and he supported original Obamacare. But of course, we haven't seen Obamacare repealed because it's what the Republican scumbags at the top wanted. They're the same ones against Trump, the never-Trumper filth that have some good rhetoric, they have some good talk, but they don't deliver. So the media will probably edit what I've said about McCain, take it out of context, and say, I'm glad he's dying. I'm not. I've told you what I really think. It's nuanced because the world is complex. I don't like McCain, but at a spiritual level, it feels like bad luck to me to say, he's getting what's coming to him or something like that, hypothetically, because I don't take pleasure in it. But when somebody is a convicted pedophile or been caught with hundreds of kids like Sandusky and the deputy pope and people, and they're particularly in priest robes, because they love to carry out the Satanism that way because it's more blasphemous. And they're just such defilers that, I'm glad when pedophiles die. I'm glad when child kidnappers die. And I'm not a violent person. I don't enjoy violence, but my very instincts are very sharp towards these people. And I've always said, when they convict these folks of pedophilia, they convict these people of kidnapping kids, I will flip the switch to run electricity through their brains. 800-259-9231. Coming up at the start of the bottom of the hour segment, I will play a video that YouTube says violates their community standards for pointing out an article by Zero Hedge that pointed out an anomaly in an NBC News report concerning Sandy Hook. And so I'm going to air this again, and I'm going to challenge that it doesn't violate the rules, that it's being selectively enforced, and that it's a form of civil rights violation of the First Amendment and discrimination. It's just like a big credit card processing company that we're looking at suing. I just have to do this. I have to start some lawsuits against violators just to fight for my rights. They told us, we're not going to let you process credit cards and debit cards with us, even though you have a, AAA standing, 5-star rating, absolutely established 22-year credit card processing company that has the other big 3 credit card processors hooked into our system, not just PayPal. We're not going to do business with you. And they were dumb enough in emails to say, because of our political views. You think a gay couple can sue and win money because somebody wouldn't bake a cake? But then you guys say, because of my political views and what's misrepresented, that I am not allowed to engage in commerce? You people are crazy. I've run this by litigators, top law firms. It's win, 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 win. And I don't want the money from these suits. I don't want 2 years. And then they get to depose me and I get to depose them. But I'm gonna subpoena CEOs and people. I'm gonna start going after folks because I can't put up with it anymore. So we're gonna air what YouTube says you're not allowed to see. Coming up, it's only 4 minutes long. It's Owen Schroyer with a Zero Hedge headline. And then we're gonna go to your phone calls with our guest, Jon Rappoport. But hey, good luck, guys, because I'm launching more shows, more video platforms. Our own video platform has millions and millions of viewers every few days. We're not backing down. We're not giving up. We're getting more affiliates across the United States because America is done being intimidated. America is done bowing. America's done being called racist because you didn't want Obamacare, written by insurance companies and Republican fat cats to screw everybody over with the Democrats. Americans across the board of every political stripe, of every skin color, of every religious background, including Muslims that don't want to be under radical Orthodox Islam, are sick of oppression, and we want freedom, and we want it now. But coming up at the bottom of the hour, I'll show you the letter from YouTube and what they say is not allowed. We're going to play the evil video. Zero Hedge discovers anomaly in Alex Jones' hit piece. And all it is Owen Schroyer playing two clips off the news side by side. And if they can censor that, and if they can shut us down for that, they can shut anybody down. And Twitter announced today, we've begun 10 times the censorship we were doing last year of anybody criticizing people we don't like. They can have the left saying, kill Trump, kill me, whatever. But let me tell you, you call somebody a liar, you call somebody an idiot, oh, they're going to shut you down. They got their trendy CEO up there. They got their trendy, yeah, click on that for TV viewers. This is how it's happening. And notice YouTube and Twitter and Facebook are all announcing the massive censorship launches now. Well, Google, we have the internal purchase order, millions of dollars to shut down InfoWars, saying Ron Paul's not credible, saying that the Syrian rebels were caught launching their own chemical attack and reading a UN report. No, it's that Ron Paul is credible. And they said, due to him opposing a Syrian war and Jones having on these guests, we're going to delist him. But we're going to do it secretly because it's not credible. And they listed Ron Paul, and that I then played a clip of a congressman, and that it was too influential. They said he plays a congressman, and he plays Ron Paul, and then he has a Cy Hirsch clip, and it's just not credible. Because it's admitted that the Syrian rebels launched at least 3 chemical attacks. Congress has had hearings on it and confirmed it. The UN admits it, but because it was so credible that I went bam, 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 here's the clips, and said we shouldn't get no wider war, and Deep State wanted that. Then they shut it down. There it is, Ron Paul, zero chance Assad behind chemical weapons attack in Syria, likely a false flag. I played that clip. I played Cy Hirsch, and I played a sitting congressman saying the same thing. And because it had consensus, and because they showed the UN report, and then we showed the rebels admitting they did it, because it was so credible, they put out a multi-million-dollar contract to delist me. And then guess what? Congress is investigating it, and so is the White House for antitrust, that case. And you notice now that contract's been canceled. And Google came out a week later and said, we did that on accident, we're canceling that contract, and then they started relisting us. Well, does Google think I'm dumb when you've got your little knighted social justice warriors that are given these little chevrons? They actually give them little shield symbols in their email, that they're super mods, and then they can go ban our videos. I can't wait to depose them. I can't wait to get their ISPs and drag them into court. You un-American trash. You want to shut us up because we are credible. You want to shut us up because you know we're pulling back the curtain. Look right here. Trump ends covert CIA program to arm anti-Assad rebels in Syria, a move sought by Moscow. The Washington Post. Our Pentagon, 5 years ago on record, went to Obama and said, we're not going to be part of being in their Air Force, and said no, and then worked with the Russians to clear out the bad rebels. And now Assad's preparing to have elections and leave. And because our patriot military didn't go along with the deep state, we stopped a wider war. Now YouTube calls them YouTube heroes, where you gain points going around shutting down free speech. And you get directives. Google owns YouTube. They hire an outside group that then goes and then gives the orders to the mods so that Google can claim they weren't behind it. It's like hiring somebody to rob your neighbor's house, or I guess kill your wife or something. But you didn't do it yourself, you see. And they admit all this like we're idiots. Don't you know people, even though these are encoded emails, are giving us the information? Show tips at Infowars.com, whistleblowers at Infowars.com. If you're working as part of these groups to do this, send us the data. This is how we're going to defeat deep state. Joining us is Jon Rappoport of NoMoreFakeNews.com. He had that name 15 years ago for his website. He worked for some of the biggest TV and networks and news gathering and newspapers as an investigative journalist until he got disgusted with it over 20 years ago. He's a filmmaker, author, artist, you name it. NoMoreFakeNews.com. And he joins us to break this down. What do you call this moment we've reached? Because they're coming for us, but every time they do, it causes a Streisand effect.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And because more and more people are waking up and coming to the defense, you know, seeing what's really happening, they're fading. They keep trying and trying and trying. But, you know, these polls that show that 6% of the people are really interested or concerned about this whole Russia collusion insanity story that's being promoted and so on, all this gives them a clue. They're operating in this gigantic echo chamber and hoping to convince people that because they all tell the same lies to each other, that other people are interested. Well, it turns out that most other people don't care.
They have a name for that. It's called a circle jerk.
Yeah, they don't give a crap about any of this, you know? And so this gets exposed time and time again. And the liars keep on lying. They can't turn back now. You know, it's like when you've already jumped off the cliff. And now you say, gee, I wish I hadn't jumped off the cliff. I don't think that was such a great idea. Is there any way I can turn around in space and walk back up to it? No, you're already falling. So what are you going to do on the way down? You're just going to keep screaming the same lies over and over and over again until you hit bottom.
So it's like Wile E. Coyote when he runs out on the edge of a cliff and realizes he's already run too far, and a second later he drops. They've already kind of hit that point, but what do they have to lose?
Your guys are really quick here. They're putting it up on the screen already. Yeah, there he is, off the too late, couldn't do it, couldn't come back. Hovered in midair for a second.
You said 3-4 years ago with the Piers Morgan that it was a crack in the facade. It pulled back. People got deprogrammed for a moment. Trump's like a 10,000 times bigger than that moment. They are so panicked. Don't they get that even if they destroy him, Toto already pulled the curtain back?
Yeah, they don't. They're hoping that's not true, but it is, you see, because as I keep saying time and time again, don't just think it's Trump. You know, it's everybody. It's everybody who wants freedom and demands it. Freedom from surveillance, censorship, oppressive laws, child protective services, medical cartel, mandates that you have to get vaccinated with poisons. I mean, you could just stretch out the whole 9 yards. It's everybody who's sick and tired of the government intruding on their lives and causing them pain, suffering, and death, saying, we've had enough. Now we want something positive. Those people, all of us, we're not going anywhere. Where is there to go?
And there's nothing the globalists can do to convince us to go back with them. It's over.
Yeah. There's no way that, you know, they can say, well, come back on our side because we didn't really mean that, or, you know, we're not as bad as you think. No, they're worse than we think. And we know that. I mean, we've had them in our sights for a long time.
How many top Catholics and university heads are caught running giant child rape operations?
Yeah, how many do we need before we understand the whole picture there?
These are literal devil-worshipping pedophiles, folks. That's why they're into GMO and fluoride and poison and cancer and evil, because they literally are demon-possessed. I'm not kidding. I mean, when you come down to it, these are just evil people. We'll be back. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back live. I'm your host, Alex Jones. Jon Rappoport's our guest. He's got a bunch of issues he wants to get into. You know, Bill Clinton invited Russia to interfere in a U.S. presidential election publicly. So they had the EU, the Saudis, the Pope, all these foreign companies saying don't elect Trump. I mean, it's just crazy that they keep pushing all of this. But just minutes ago, O.J. Simpson walked out of his parole hearing. It's over. And the word is they're probably going to go in, deliberate, and then decide to release him after 9 years in prison for stealing back some of his memorabilia in a robbery. And I'm not an O.J. Simpson fan. I'm just telling you, folks, that he spends 9 years. Dennis Hastert rapes little boys, procures them for the Republican Party and others. They covered it up, and he gets 13 months in federal prison and then is suing one of the people that he admittedly raped. And he carried the kids across state lines, reportedly. But he wants his money back. So, again, what's wrong with this world? It's not that Simpson's black that he's been persecuted compared to Hastert. It's that he's not an elitist. You better believe if Simpson's crime was raping little kids, he probably never even would have been in prison. Instead, his crime is being an average citizen, pretty much, and not being involved in an elite type of criminal operation. What do you make of all this, Jon Rappoport of No More Fake News?
Well, I think there's, oh, God, where do we start here? I mean, it's basically about Hastert, and it's about all the other pedophiles. They protect each other. They're in positions of power. They are the ones who can take a priest from here. Let's move him to Tasmania or, you know, the Arctic so that he's never prosecuted. Let's collude with politicians, fellow politicians who are also involved in the pedophile network so that the case never goes to court. Or some small-time bit player gets sent to jail, but none of the elites ever get to jail.
So it's a big club and we ain't in it. Why historically, in every ancient culture, is there a cult that takes over, whether it's Africa, Mesoamerica, Europe, Asia? In certain periods, cults take over, build temples, and then rape and kill children. You know, in the Bible, they talk about different tribes taking virgins and killing them. Well, virgins just means children. Why does this keep, through sociology, anthropology, psychology, archaeology, why does it keep raising its ugly head? What's at the bottom of the rabbit hole?
You know, you said these people are evil. I don't think you really have to go much further than that. I mean, you can analyze why and so on, and you can give lots of reasons. That's easy to do. But evil people turn out to be evil. That's what they are.
And the more they get away with, the more they do.
Yeah, of course. And then it piles up. In other words, whatever thrill they get out of being evil, it's not enough, so they have to go further. And they have to keep on going. This amount of control and destruction is not enough. We have to expand it. And that's where they actually commit suicide. Because it gets to a point where the people are fed up and have had enough because they see what's actually going on. And we're at that crossroad when we talk about what the globalists are doing.
I agree, because you said they're in their own echo chamber. They even admit that now. Everyone's even turning, I mean, it was like 20-something% a few months ago thought Russia was important. Now it's 6% in their own Gallup polls. Everyone I know knows it's a total joke. And so what comes next? They're in their echo chamber. They're getting more extreme. They're going to try to remove Trump. What's going to happen?
Well, they're just going to continue to beat the drum any possible way they can. I'm sure that they're going to get some more psychiatrists to try to come forward and say that he's mentally ill and he's incompetent to serve. The reason that they're not filing impeachment proceedings is because they know they don't have a chance. So they're looking around desperately to try to find something. And all they can do right now is to keep on screaming about the Russia story because they don't really have anything else. And when it's reported that fewer people are coming across the southern border, for example, and certain, progress is being made along that front, because with open borders, you just can't vet who's coming into the country, then there's a whole lot of people that are very happy about that. So that makes it even worse for them. They don't know what to do.
That's right, because they can't kill the economy quick enough to blame Trump. Plus, they now know they're getting the blame anyways for trying it, but they can't help themselves. Like you said, they're Wile E. Coyote ran over the edge. When we come back, though, Mueller has said, okay, I can't find any Russia stuff. He's going to look at every Trump associate, every campaign person's finances, total dragnet, total fishing expedition. What does Trump do at this point with this rogue element? What do we do? All right, we've got well over 2 million subscribers on just one of our YouTube channels that a fan made 5-6 years ago, Dave Thomas, not of Wendy's. His name's really Dave Thomas. Great guy. He works for us now from Oregon, where he's a chicken farmer with his family.
What's your name?
Who's your daddy? Does he live in a free country like me? During the break, I was talking to the crew, and they're like, they're glad I'm really considering having to sue Google and YouTube and other people that put in false copyright claims, because this isn't Russia during the old Soviet Union. This isn't communist China. We have free speech in this country. And I'm sick of people with false copyright claims that they never back up once I file a challenge to it. They never put up or shut up and file suit on me. And then now they claim that I'm harassing Sandy Hook families because the media said I am, and the media said I said go harass their families. And then they take down our videos where I actually clarify, going back 3-4 years ago, that I simply questioned because our media lied about dead babies in incubators and said they got their brains bashed out. And so my listeners didn't buy the official story. So we looked at it, and I said, I don't know the truth. I'm not ready to say kids didn't die and point my finger at parents and say they're liars. Is there blue screen with Anderson Cooper's face disappearing? Are there kids going in circles in the video shots? Did they hold back the helicopters? Did they have porta potties there in an hour and a half? Did they run it like a big PR operation? Do they get all these conflicting stories in the media? Absolutely, and we have a right to question it. If they said there were new babies thrown out of incubators in some country, and we questioned it because they've lied before, and it turned out that they did actually kill babies somewhere, would I then hate the families that lost their babies? No. I'm questioning known liars in the media. But in the 1990 event where they said hundreds of babies had their brains bashed out and their skulls kicked in, there were no babies. There were no incubators. It was a red shirt to bring us into a war, and now over 1 million Iraqis have died of starvation, 500,000 under the Clintons' intensified sanctions that were children. But see, we don't humanize those Iraqi children, and we overthrew a secular government that had swimming pools and movie theaters and Playboy sold in the stores. I'm not saying that's a great thing or good thing or bad thing. The point was it was becoming westernized. The globalists don't want that. They destroyed it. And they put radical Islamists in charge. But see, I'm not supposed to sit there and have a big thought like that. I looked at the 5 videos that they have said are evil and bad and put a strike on us and are threatening to shut the channel down. Zero Hedge discovers anomaly in Alex Jones' hit piece. That's what they're saying we're not allowed to question. So let's play the censored report with Owen Schroyer analyzing other people's reports and playing the anomaly and asking the question. And quite frankly, the father needs to clarify, that NBC needs to clarify, because the coroner said none of the parents were allowed to touch the kids or see the kids, and maybe they, meaning at the school, I'm sure later maybe the parents saw their children. The point is that because the media lies so much, you can't blame the public asking questions, and you can't ban free speech of people that are asking questions. And for us to simply look at the Megyn Kelly public event where someone sat down and was interviewed and to politely discuss it, if you ban that, you ban free speech in total. Very, very dangerous. Here it is.
So, folks, now here's another story. You know, I don't even know if Alex knows about this, to be honest with you. Alex, if you're listening and you want to, or if you just want to know what's going on, Zero Hedge has just published a story. Megyn Kelly fails to fact-check Sandy Hook father's contradictory claim in Alex Jones' hit piece. Now, again, this broke, I think it broke today. I don't know what time, but featured in Megyn Kelly's expose, Neil Heslin, a father of one of the victims, during the interview described what happened the day of the shooting. And basically what he said, the statement he made, fact checkers on this have said cannot be accurate. He's claiming that he held his son and saw the bullet hole in his head. That is his claim. Now, according to a timeline of events and a coroner's testimony, that is not possible. And so one must look at Megyn Kelly and say, Megyn, I think it's time for you to explain this contradiction in the narrative, because this is only going to fuel the conspiracy theory that you're trying to put out, in fact. So And here's the thing, too. You would remember, let me see how long these clips are. You would remember if you held your dead kid in your hands with a bullet hole. That's not something that you would just misspeak on. So let's roll the clip first. Neil Heslin telling Megyn Kelly of his experience with his kid.
At Sandy Hook Elementary School, one of the darkest chapters in American history was a hoax.
I lost my son. I buried my son. I held my son with a bullet hole through his head.
Neil Heslin's son Jesse, just 6 years old, was murdered, along with 19 of his classmates and 6 adults, on December 14th, 2012, in Newtown, Connecticut.
I dropped him off in 904. That's when we dropped him off at school with his book bag. Hours later, I was picking him up in a body bag.
Okay, so making a pretty extreme claim that would be a very thing vivid in your memory, holding his dead child. Now, here is an account from the coroner that does not cooperate with that narrative.
We did not bring the bodies and the families into contact. We took pictures of them, of their facial features. You have, it's easier on the families when you do that. There is a time and a place for up close and personal in the grieving process. But to accomplish this, we felt it would be best to do it this way. And you can sort of, you can control the situation depending on your photographer. And I have very good photographers.
It's got to be, hard not to have been able to actually see her.
Well, at first I thought that, and I had questioned maybe wanting to see her.
Okay, so just another question that people are now going to be asking about Sandy Hook. The conspiracy theorists on the internet out there that have a lot of questions that are yet to get answered. I mean, you can say whatever you want about the event. That's just a fact. So there's another one. Will there be a clarification from Heslin or Megyn Kelly? I wouldn't hold your breath. So now they're fueling the conspiracy theory claims. Unbelievable. We'll be right back with more.
All right. Now, that's the full clip that's been censored on YouTube that's hateful and evil, they say, and that we're harassing people with. It's national television. It's a piece attacking me. Okay? That's a clip from a national piece, televised everywhere, misrepresenting what I said about Sandy Hook. I'm now allowed to respond to a report about me that isn't even accurate. And then you've got CNN and MSNBC, both with different groups of parents and the coroner saying we weren't allowed to see our kids basically ever, what they sound like they're saying. But we see a father, a grieving father, saying that he dropped him off with a book bag, got him back in a body bag. And regardless, Bloomberg said they don't let a good crisis go to waste. So did the White House Chief of Staff, Rahm Emanuel at the time. And bottom line, there was massive PR around this. This was used to blame the American people, to say gun owners were at blame for this, and that we had killed these children. So that's why America rejected it and said it was fake, because in total, saying gun owners are responsible for what somebody on Prozac does is not true. If I kill somebody with a car on purpose, it's not your fault because you own a car that I did something wrong with the car. Like if I stab my neighbor with a butcher knife, or you do, then we're not guilty for what another person does. So we're sick of this. Do mass shootings happen? Absolutely. Can I prove that New Haven didn't happen? No. So I've said for years, we've had debates about it, that I don't know, but you can't blame people for asking. But now, in a national Megyn Kelly NBC hit piece, that another publication, very respected, Zero Hedge, comes out and breaks. I'm not even allowed to report on a report about me from NBC and Zero Hedge with my other reporter who didn't harass anybody. That was a month ago. He said, I wouldn't hold our breath looking for a response. We've not seen a clarification. I'm the one that called him up after I saw the show that night, and I said, you know, Owen, and we're going to go back to our guest, Could be that, you know, we need to get clarification. I went on, I could never find out. The stuff I found was they never let them see their bodies. That's kind of what's weird about this, but maybe they did. So I'm sure it's all real. But for some reason, they don't want you to see those clips together. NoMoreFakeNews.com. He hosted an hour a week. He's going to be hosting a lot more soon. I got to get it set up with him. But he's here with us. That, of course, is Jon Rappoport. John, what do you make of this?
Just report on the report on the report on the report is suddenly, you know, licensed to take away access. You can't do that. Absolutely not. Absolutely inappropriate. Inappropriate, right? Because there's an unanswered question. So where does that leave us? Well, let's say that somebody decides to publish on YouTube a whole list of the ingredients in vaccines. You know, here it is from the CDC. And I have a question, because if you'll notice, there's aluminum, 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 aluminum. And now here is a statement from official organizations, medical organizations, about how neurotoxic aluminum is that's being injected this way. And I'm asking questions about this. Well, let's throw that away too. That's no good. We can't have a video like that. We can't have that either. I mean, as you say, if they're going to throw out that video by Schroyer, then everything's up for grabs. You can't say anything that wouldn't be censored if somebody wants to censor it.
Well, I'm not supposed to ask you because of this intimidation. What do you think about Sandy Hook? I mean, I said it has more holes in it.
Right.
I said it has more holes than Swiss cheese. I'm not personally attacking anybody. Just like, as I said, if a new baby incubator story came out, I would question it. It may come out that the new attack on babies is real, but am I bad? Am I attacking individual parents because I questioned a media that runs hoaxes?
And here's the other thing, because they have to find their hook to come after you. You know, you've covered what? In all the years you've been at InfoWars, I don't know, 15,000, 20,000 stories? Okay, so let's find one that we can twist, make it incredibly controversial, and make it sound like he's some sort of an inhuman monster. And then let's push that on national television and say, you see, folks, you see what we're dealing with here with the so-called independent media? I mean, that's the other aspect of this, which is completely insane. You know, if there was anybody rational at any of these networks, they would sit down with you and they would say, well, apparently you're a very controversial figure, and also apparently you have untold millions. I mean, it just keeps getting bigger of listeners. So what is it that you stand for? Why are you so popular? What are you saying? And, you know, a long form interview. And then they would bring in and say, well, here's a story you covered, and this is what you said.
Listen, I told him I thought the kids probably did die, and that we were simply questioning because the babies in the incubators, they wouldn't put it. They won't let me even say that,
that's right.
that they've twisted it, and because they want to take off what I've really said and then say false things about me so I can't respond.
Exactly. So if you say, well, let's compare the Sandy Hook thing to the incubator baby thing, they're not even going to put that on television. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to say, well, gee, he does have an analogy. No, we don't want to even consider that, because people are going to realize, hey, well, yeah, that was a totally fake story about how the war in Iraq was promoted and launched. So he has a right to question what happened at Sandy Hook or what happened anywhere about anything. I mean, come on. What's the story here? You ask a question, you ask a number of questions, and all of a sudden you're censored for that? These people want you to get down on your hands and knees and pray to ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, et cetera, et cetera. That's what they want. Just like Chris Cuomo says on CNN, in what has to be, for me, one of the most insane things ever uttered by anybody: you, the public, don't have a right to look at these leaked emails. Only we, the media, can, and then we tell you what to think, and then you accept it.
He actually said it just like that.
right? And people, the people all over the world, like if I was walking through an airport where they have these contracts with CNN and I heard that, I'd say, forget about my flight. I'm dropping my bags. I got to watch this idiot. This is unbelievable, right? Where does this guy come from?
He goes further. He goes, you're not allowed to. It's illegal. No, we're allowed to, and then you get it from us. I mean, he actually when I saw that clip first, the day it happened, I thought it was a joke. And we went back and found the full context. I mean, he really talked to them like they're 3-year-olds.
Yeah, he really means that. And you say, well, this is a guy that, Megan, hello, interview Chris Como, okay? Find out what makes this incredible moron tick. I mean, where did you come up with this idea? We, the media, will tell you what it means. Otherwise, you have no access to it. I mean, where was he hatched? How did he come into being as some sort of reporter? I mean, I know his name is Como, so he's from a political family, right? But I mean, they just grab him off the street and say, you're our anchor? When you say something like that, I mean, there we see what the media is actually thinking about themselves.
Exactly. I want to go to some phone calls. I'm going to skip this break so we have more time with Jon Rappoport. But just briefly, PewDiePie has like 15 plus billion views on one channel and a couple billion on another, and then other channels. I mean, it's 18 billion views. And it's bigger than all comedy channels, entertainment stuff together. And he never was political. I'd only seen some of it, but they hate the fact that his main demographic's about 18 and younger. But I've seen his stuff. It's pretty funny, even when he makes fun of me. Regardless, in the marketplace of ideas, he's winning. They begin to call him racist, Hitler, say shut him down, because the big executives are jealous, the Zuckers of the world, that he has something they don't have. He has the real star appeal. They've all failed. Nothing they force feed works. So I've talked to a lot of these folks, not PewDiePie, but others. All these big channels, including a lot of big kind of mainline liberal channels that are independent, they're getting targeted and shut down, and it's a bullying. And then YouTube comes along behind the scenes and says, work with us, start doing a few things we want, we'll fully monetize you and help you. So it's muscling. So I'm saying to PewDiePie and others, they're scared of you because they saw you putting out our stuff in Watson's. They know you could turn around and somebody like you could be 1,000 times more successful than even myself or Donald Trump. They don't know who the PewDiePie is that's just kind of doing their own thing, who then clicks because there's this algorithm of awakening. So PewDiePie needs to know, they're always going to envy you and try to shut you down. The answer is really take your destiny in your hands. Don't just be super popular and have all the super hot girlfriends and make $30 million a year or whatever. Really change the destiny of the world. And if it's not going to be PewDiePie, it's going to be somebody else. Because I turned down $10 million a year 16, 17 years ago. Sounds like a lot of money. It's nothing. Money means nothing once you get self-sufficient. They use it to control you, to always feel like you're going to arrive someday if you were just with them. Now, it's not saying money's bad to have. It's just that it is not your God. They try to keep money limited, resources limited, so they can be the gatekeeper between that. Right now, though, OJ's verdict's coming in. Dennis Hastert goes free after 13 months. We'll see if OJ does for robbery, already serving 9 years. Let's go to that feed live.
And I concur with Commissioner Korda and grant parole. And in addition, our decision, although difficult, is fair and just.
I concur with Commissioner Korda and agree to grant parole.
Mr. Simpson, before I cast my vote, I want to let you know that we believe that we're a fair board. We believe that we're a consistent board. I will let you know that that consistency also goes to parole. And we do not look kindly upon parole violations. And if I cast my vote to grant and it concludes the hearing, our expectation would be that you not violate even the simplest condition of parole. Having said that, I am prepared to cast a vote. I am prepared to ask the commissioners to set conditions. If that happens, We will produce an order sometime in the next 15 to 20 minutes that will be faxed to you or presented to you at the institution, and it will become a public record. So based on all of that, Mr. Simpson, I do vote to grant parole when eligible, and that will conclude this hearing.
Thank you.
You know, Simpson looked arrogant and somewhat corrupt before, but after 9 years in prison, he looks very genuine, very contrite. And he looks very, like he has a lot of, I never studied his genetic background, but he has a lot of Native American in him or something. So he looks like a lot of Native American now that he's lost a lot of weight. But there you go. 9 years in prison for robbing back some of his own memorabilia. I'm not defending what he did, but there was a dispute. And then I've never done it myself, but sometimes in business you get a little bit mad, people screw you over, and I'm not saying that's what happened there. The wife thing, all that, both sides, they tried to set him up. He probably did it. It's just a mess. Crime of passion, yeah, I mean, basically cut their heads off. Or, I mean, he was found civilly guilty. The point is, it's hard to hate him when these globalists are committing all these crimes. John McCain's funding Al-Qaeda and ISIS. They're murdering Christians by the hundreds of thousands. And then all these pedophiles are going free. We haven't scripted this. We're live. We're going to do your phone calls. Sean, Josh, Andrew, Dustin, and others. But what is your view, Jon Rappoport?
You know, I just thought, what would happen if you put up a YouTube video with Hastert being released next to OJ? So maybe that would be censored too. Oh, we don't want any comparisons of this. No. Just side by side, the last 2 minutes of this was Simpson and Hastert, pedophile, he gets off. Let's present that. Let's show, you know, what do you think of this, folks? You think this sounds fair? Does this sound equitable? Does this sound like the justice system is actually working when this guy serves 9 years and this guy serves, what, 13 months? Really? Unbelievable.
Well, I know this. You look at Simpson, you can't fake that. He looked real humanity, really upset, really wanting to get out. I mean, you can't hide that. That was real. And then you look at somebody like Mr. Blue Eyes over there at the Republican Party, Paul Ryan, he just radiates, I'm a psychopath.
Yeah.
We're going to go to break here in a moment, take a few calls. Jon Rappoport, NoMoreFakeNews.com. Before we go any further, ladies and gentlemen, we need your financial support. They're trying to shut us down. I want to expand, not just stay the same size, because we're going to expand or be destroyed. There is no stay the same size. We need you to go to InfoWarsStore.com, where we have amazing nutraceuticals, free shipping for another 10 days or so. And a bunch of the stuff like Super Male, which is just great concentrated herbs, the X2, the amazing good halogen, the Deep Earth clean iodine, not the garbage iodine that you get at the store. You'll probably eat holes in your belly. InfoWarsLife.com has it all, but a lot of the specials got to end today, just like Brain Force had to end a few days ago because it's about to sell out. I'll have some new specials tomorrow, but these are our best sellers that are still on sale right now. InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. But that's how we fund ourselves. Over 75% of the funding is you buying products. CNN's fake news. On the back, InfoWars is real news. Great shirt to meet like-minded people, to spread the word, to stand up for free speech. Caveman's back in stock. Myco ZX to knock out the fungus and stuff in your gut. Next Level Probiotic, it's back. We've got our new super high-quality whey that I haven't even had time to get into yet today. It's our new product launched today. Haven't even launched it because so much is happening. So we'll take your phone calls coming up. I appreciate you holding. If we don't get to everybody, I'm going to send everybody a keg of this new premium whey protein that's from one of the biggest high-quality manufacturers, hormone-free, grass-fed cows, what produce the milk. True whey protein, super high-quality, InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. No reviews yet because it just came out today, but we have tens of thousands of reviews by third-party site Power Reviews and others. On average, 4.8 stars. No one else that we've seen has it. InfoWarsLife.com, InfoWarsStore.com is the umbrella site. But even if you can't buy the products from us to help support the broadcast, just spread the link, spread the articles, spread the videos, because we are fighting every day to simply stay here and keep putting the truth out. And we're changing the world because of your support. Hour number 4 with your calls. Anthony Cumia, the conclusion of NoMoreFakeNews.com with Jon Rappoport. Stay with us. All right, look, I hogged the airtime. I gave the number out 30 minutes ago. I haven't gone to your calls. I apologize. Mr. Rappaport's our guest. Let's talk to Sean in New York, then Josh and others. Sean, you're on the air. Sean, we're going to let you go. Let's go to Josh in Colorado. Josh, you're on the air.
Hey, guys, long-time listener. I just wanted to talk to you about future technology. I'm an independent researcher. I led an energy movement, and I'm seeing something that's coming. There's a breakaway civilization, and they have revolutionary energy technology. They're going to build 3D printed robots. They're engineering robots into biomechanical with dogs. I had to leave the movement because of the weird stuff I was starting to hear. There is something really strange going on in this world, and
yeah, no, I mean, they got computers that predict the future. I mean, they've got computers that predict the future. Then you can control the future. They've had chimeras for 30-plus years, they admit. And now they're admitting it all, but not showing it. So that's the big question. Have we already reached the Atlantean moment? I mean, whatever they've discovered, they're on such power trips. They act like we just don't even exist anymore. And then there's Trump in the middle of it trying to rally billions of people against it. Rappoport, what do you think's going on?
They have tremendously advanced artificial intelligence in terms of systems, because that's what they're trying to do to the planet. Here we've got these systems, and we're going to impose them on you. You are the little units that we put into the slots of our systems. So naturally, when you have that viewpoint, and that's what you want to make the world into, one gigantic machine, then you're going to use artificial intelligence and robots and androids and everything automatic that you can get.
And they've said they're using the artificial replacement of us to make us obsolete as a way to dictate the terms of our surrender to the technocracy. This is being designed to make us obsolete, to dictate what's left of the middle class, accepting the extermination and phase out of the general public. And that's the admitted plan. Josh?
Well, it's being shown in Hollywood. If you have the eyes to see what the new energy technologies are going to be and how actual natural energy works, they've actually really engineered it. They don't want anybody that's done it independently to be funded. They're funding their own people to come up through the system, and they're going to put the information out that the way they want it to
Sure,
be done.
I mean, that's what they do. They always have, quote, the billionaire guy, the Bill Gates, the whatever, the Zuckerberg, that pops up. That's been partially declassified as the free market front, so people don't even understand what's happening. It's all Trojan horsed.
They can actually synthetically create most elements nowadays with nanotechnology and nano superconductors.
Well, I mean, when I was a kid in third grade, they talked about those big machines they've got that create the new elements. I mean, alchemy's now real. You want to comment on that, Rappoport?
Yeah, you can go all the way back to I.G. Farben, the infamous Nazi cartel of the 1930s. That was their whole program, to be able to synthesize, they were talking about oil and rubber and so forth, but basically these guys that they had over there wanted to synthesize anything from anything else. That was their plan. That was their program. That's their whole idea, is to synthesize existence, basically.
And we're seeing it as like an infestation of weevils or something that's eating their resources, but then they've trained us to be like the weevils so that we follow that form. And I'm just like, whoa, this is uncool.
Yeah. Who wants that? We want individuals that are free, strong, alert, creative, independent.
Hey, Josh, give us your name and number if you want to give us documentation, because I want to start talking to more deep tech people, not just deep state, because deep tech is the bottom of deep state. So if you want to give us your info, I'd like to see documentation and have you on. I mean, hell, they tried to hire my dad to build cyborgs in the 80s. And it wasn't even that special. They were trying to hire all the top oral surgeons that were doing implants at the time, because that was new. Amazing, Jon Rappoport. Thank you so much, my friend. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Alex.
Powerful, always to have him on, bantering back and forth. I'm going to introduce Anthony Cumia straight ahead. Introducing the one, the only Anthony Cumia of the Anthony Cumia Show on Twitter, compoundmedia.com. You know, he had big, popular terrestrial syndicated radio and got kicked off that. And then, of course, he hosted the Opie and Anthony Show. And he criticized Black Lives Matter killing cops, literally, and he was fired off of that. So now he's got his own Compound Media with a lot of other hosts. It's very, very popular and successful. But the reason I raise that is YouTube, for us showing Megyn Kelly interviewing one of the fathers of a Sandy Hook victim, saying he held his son after he was shot. Then we show CNN, MSNBC saying the coroners didn't let people get to their kids. And we said, that's why people question. We're not even questioning the kids died. That's been questioned. Our listeners question it. We're simply saying this is why people question it, showing a zero hedge story. That's been removed, and they said they're looking at banning us on YouTube. That story's up on Infowars.com. If they do that to us, they can do it to anybody. So we've got to stand up against this, and we've got to understand they're doing this because we're destroying them because of their own lies. 6% of Americans in a big Gallup poll think Russia's an important story, but this globalist that took radical Islam off of the FBI's list, so when they're investigating Hamas or Al-Qaeda or ISIS, they can't even say they're investigating an Islamic group. Mueller, who covered up for the Clintons, all of it, Bush, all of it, the Saudi role in 9/11, all of it, he now has expanded it to all Trump's associates, all his businesses, all his buildings, to see, quote, if they rented any condos or sold stuff to Russians, or campaign money, or just money laundering, period, which they could call bouncing a check. So it's gone from witch hunt to the greatest fishing expedition the history has ever seen. And our Pentagon 5 years ago came to Obama. We first broke this and said, we're not going to be Al-Qaeda's Air Force, which is ISIS. And Trump comes in. He's like, yeah, we're going to defeat ISIS, which he said he'd do in 2016. Now, 6 months in, it's basically in 2 cities. It's 95% defeated. Trump ends covert CIA program, that was Obama and McCain funding these groups, to arm anti-Assad rebels in Syria, a move sought by Moscow. And, of course, they said that at the G20 event, 2 days of dinners and lunches, the G20 set Melania next to Putin. And then Trump came over and talked to him in front of world leaders with a Japanese interpreter that could speak Russian and English, and asked a few questions and you know, talked to him. And they're calling that a secret Russian meeting. That's what you do at diplomatic dinners. And so now the new talking point from Howard Stern, heaven love him, not a bad guy, been on his show, whatever, to CNN, MSNBC is, you don't talk to Russians. If you talk to a Russian, close quote, that's the new talking points all over the news, you're a Russian agent. So this is meant to paralyze Trump. Anthony, I want you to take over and host this hour. It's why you're here, compoundmedia.com. But it's not working, but they don't care. They're just going to continue to move forward to try to impeach the president. And I agree with him. Sessions, you know, shouldn't have recused himself. And Sessions has been a good guy on many fronts. But, I mean, where are his huevos? Why aren't we seeing special prosecutors or indictments of the Clintons when they got money from Russia? I mean, I've got an article right here. Bill Clinton, remember back when he called for Russia to interfere in our elections? I mean, everything they say Trump's done, they've done, and I'm sick of putting up with them, and almost no one supports them. You know, it came out that the bots, the computers, the Google algorithms knew that Trump was going to win. He was 15 points ahead. Hillary tried to steal it but failed. And now they're saying, oh, he's only 55 points or 50 or 47 points in the polls. You know it's 60, 65. In fact, the corporate bots show he's at about 60. They have put a dent on him with some people, but it doesn't matter. I mean, this is so epic. What do you expect him to do now? And I'm turning it over to you. Go ahead, my friend.
I'm stunned that anybody still looks at what is mainstream media, traditional news, which, by the way, is newsertainment. That anybody believes this is news anymore. What has to happen before everybody in this country says we are being so bamboozled by mainstream media that I will not accept one thing? If I saw something transpire in front of me that is classified as news and then saw an accurate depiction of it on mainstream media, I still wouldn't believe it. We need people to realize at this point that they are feeding you. They are feeding you an agenda-driven menu.
If they said the sky was blue, I would go out and look at it for myself.
And if I saw it was blue, I still wouldn't believe it. They're proving themselves on a daily basis that they are fake news.
So where do they go now? Because I really want to know your opinion on this. Where do they go now that 6% believe they're BS?
I honestly think people need to go to alternative sources for their news. Well, and are we supposed to believe the polls? Are we supposed to believe the news after they were proven liars over the course of the entire campaign and election? Now we're supposed to believe that Trump is 50% or under 50% or 30%, I hear in certain circles, and we're supposed to go, oh yeah, sure. When will we all realize that this is a TV show? All news shows are a TV
It's
program,
the Truman Show.
just like Game of Thrones and everything else you enjoy to watch. They're making money, putting on a program, and that program is driven by what more people will watch. Has nothing to do with facts anymore. Nothing.
I agree, but it's also what the corporations owning that media want, because, sure, some of it's for ratings, but and then that's come out in the memos, you're right, but it's also about what will get them ratings that the bosses are authorizing. Kind of those 2 points go together, because, I mean, imagine, true information is super popular, or people at least trying to tell the truth. So I think what really handicaps them is they're trying to get ratings with the few things they're allowed to do.
Yeah, well, when you see something like, Katie Couric is saying fake news is ripping apart America at the seams. She's part of it. How did they're trying to...
They had an MSNBC piece a month ago.
No.
They had, and I'm leaving because I just can't stop listening to you, but I just got to make this point. A month ago, they had Brian Williams with a report on fake news on MSNBC. This is the king of fake. It's like having Hitler running a Holocaust museum. I'm sorry. Go ahead and take over, Anthony.
Absolutely, Alex. It's insanity. The hypocrisy, the blatant insult to the American people that they do certain things to say, look how stupid you are, that you're actually buying this, and we keep pumping out this garbage, and you will buy it, is insulting. It's blatant dishonesty to the American people, yet so many still eat it up. Like I said, Katie Couric saying that fake news is ripping America apart at the seams. Katie Couric was the one doing a special on guns in this country that edited and took a comment from a panelist that was in the documentary completely out of context to absolutely change what the person was saying. That is fake news. And now she's saying that it's ripping America apart. Their only defense is to go out there and try to make the people believe they're the ones that aren't fake news. And people like Alex and myself and Gavin McInnes and all the other people that are presenting facts to you and allowing you to voice your opinions on them are the fake news. And we're the dangerous ones. We're dangerous to them. I agree with that. We're dangerous to them. But how is it dangerous to inform the American people, give them the absolute facts, and then let them build their own opinions on it? When you watch mainstream media these days, you don't get the news. You get people's interpretation based on the company that owns that news organization and what their agenda is. That's what you're getting. And believe me, it is a far cry from the facts when it finally reaches the American people. And I'm talking about everything. Look, I appear on Fox News on various programs over there, but I am not one of these people that take everything that goes on over there as gospel either. They have their agenda, just like CNN and MSNBC and all of them. We really need to separate ourselves from mainstream media and look elsewhere for the facts of a story. It's not easy. It's not easy to find factual information on a lot of stories. But look, that's part of it. It's very easy to sit down and watch some of these shows and see these beautiful, stunning talking heads blathering on about what they are feeding you as news. But you're not getting the full story. Donald Trump's presidency has been, the campaign and the presidency has been just an amazing example of the mainstream media saying, well, throw it all out the window. We don't care about credibility anymore. What we care about is our agenda and putting it across. So when years ago there was this plausible deniability that there was some type of journalistic integrity, now it's completely gone. There is no, I can't imagine anyone with any sense or brains in their head actually believing that it's the news. So what you get, yes, absolutely, the greatest witch hunt in American political history. We listen to people that have absorbed what mainstream media is feeding them on Trump, the election, what he's done since he's been elected, his accomplishments, the Russia thing, and people actually believe this speculation and innuendo and outright lies. They believe it as fact. They go on social media. It spreads its tentacles, and it becomes the new truth. And people will argue and debate you based on absolute lies. And you try to inform them because you've done your research, and they don't want to believe it because they've been infected by mainstream media and the crap that they're spreading around as real news. Back in a couple of seconds. Don't go anywhere. Anthony Cumia for InfoWars. Thank you. Wow. Hey, summer mega specials ending soon. Super Male Vitality and Survival Shield X2 specials ending today. Quantities are running low, so act now to save 30% off each product. Caveman is back at 25% off. Secret 12 is back, 25% off. DNA Force is back at 20% off. Get Health Support Pack, Micro ZX, and Biome Defense 50. That's 30% off. Living Defense 20% off. Pro Pure G 2.0 Traveler is 30% off. Z Shield 30% off. InfoWars Select Storable Food 30 to 40% off. Plus free shipping store-wide. Many of these products are going to sell out soon, so now is the time to secure your order at InfoWarsStore.com. Hello, people. How you doing? Man, if you need any proof that the media will do anything to make Donald Trump look bad, you're out of your mind. It's all out there. We see it. This is no longer a fact-finding. This is, like they said, a witch hunt, a fishing expedition. But something a little more light, something lighter transpired last week when Trump complimented Emmanuel Macron, complimented his wife, the, of course, French president, Emmanuel Macron. They were together over there in France, and Donald Trump told his wife, told Macron's wife, "Hey, you look good. You're in good shape. Beautiful." And the media loses its mind, saying that this was terrible. This was inappropriate. My God, sexist, misogynistic, blah, blah, blah. Get this. It's 2017, I believe, right? Yeah, 2017. Complimenting a woman is now just completely off limits. Does it take a lot to really think this through and see how insane this has gotten, and try your hardest to reverse this? I do believe. Now, I haven't done much research on this, but I do believe men have been complimenting women for millennia. I honestly believe. Now, you could argue why. You could argue, hey, is a guy complimenting a woman because she's beautiful, that he appreciates this? Is he trying, does he have some nefarious ideas, perhaps? He's trying to go out with her or something. That's up for debate. But what isn't up for debate is that for the existence of man and women, men have been complimenting women. I'm sure it happened in a cave somewhere. Oh, dear, you look wonderful. That pelt is marvelous on you. But here in 2017, we've reached an insane crescendo of political correctness garbage that a world leader can no longer compliment the beauty of another world leader's wife. So the media lost its mind. When when are we all going to see this? Look, I'm no amazing visionary here. I don't believe I'm seeing things long before the rest of humanity. So when I see something like this and see the level of madness that we've reached, not only in this country, but in the whole world, I wonder how many people are also seeing this and what we are going to do to combat it. Because if this was just one instance, it would be a funny laugh and you'd blow it off and be like, okay. But this is a symptom of a disease that is going on in this country and the world, of political correctness run amok, fake news, and this crucifixion of our president, Donald Trump. When they get to the level of Donald Trump complimented a woman, and that's a problem, that they really have run out of things to say about it. They're still going with the Russia thing, which we'll get into in a moment. I love how Trump is handling that. I don't like how he's handling some other things. We'll also get into that. I enjoy the dressing down he's giving Sessions. I like that whole thing. But if you can't compliment a woman in 2017, we're done. We're done as a race of people and humans. Be back in a second. Don't go anywhere. Anthony Cumia in for Infowars.com. Oh, welcome back. They did a bad thing. Bad thing. Welcome back, Anthony Cumia, Infowars.com. I want to talk about Trump blasting Jeff Sessions, Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Trump said if he knew Jeff Sessions was going to recuse himself from this Russia investigation, he wouldn't have hired him. And again, they're losing their minds in the media, losing their minds. Isn't it refreshing to have an honest politician at the helm in the presidency? Isn't it refreshing? The media would have you believe this is one of the biggest liars that's ever held office, Donald Trump. I see him as one of the most honest people ever to hold the office, because he will say, look, this Jeff Sessions, if I knew he wasn't going to be loyal and he was going to recuse himself, I never would have hired him. And a lot of people would think, wow, maybe you should have kept that under wraps. Maybe you shouldn't have said that. I love it. I love that he's speaking his mind and telling the American people how he feels about certain things. And you know what? He's right. You hire a guy as your attorney general who is supposed to look into, he's like the head muckety-muck as far as law goes in this country. And now you have an investigation about Russian collusion. And again, there has never been any proof that Donald Trump was involved in any collusion with Russia to influence the election in any way. So why recuse yourself? It's another instance that we have seen, oh my God, so many times, of the GOP bowing down to the left and the media and the mob, the pitchfork and torch wielding mob that will never be satisfied. Oh, you recuse yourself and we'll put this guy in. Yeah, we're still not satisfied. Wow. I am convinced Donald Trump could come up with a cure for cancer, and the headline would be, Donald Trump puts millions of doctors out of work. That seems to be his destiny, is to just be criticized on every single thing he's done or wants to do in this country. But yeah, you got an attorney general that you give the job to. You want something called loyalty. Now, that is a dirty word, I guess, in Washington. I don't know why. If you put a team together, just calling it a team kind of makes you think that they would be loyal to the team. You put a team together, you want everyone on that team to be loyal. Not to a point where they're going to break the law for you or cover up anything you've done. But was there any proof that Donald Trump was involved in any kind of collusion with the Russian government for the election, to influence the election? No. So then why would Jeff Sessions recuse himself? If not for one thing, the pressure from people that want to see Donald Trump fail. They want to see him arrested. They want to see him strung up. In some cases, I guess, thrown off a cliff. Is that what Rosie O'Donnell was doing? She was saying that Donald Trump should be thrown off a cliff, and apparently there was some type of game where Donald Trump gets pushed off of a cliff, and she was very excited about that. Again, the hypocrisy on the left is insane. But you want loyalty. You want your team to back you and back your policies and ideas. But for some reason, the left sees that as some type of Nazi Hitler thing to do. I don't know. Things have become bad words. Loyalty, nationalism. Nationalism is horrible. This used to be something that was looked at with pride. There was a pride in your nation. Every day. I remember going to school. You would never dream of not putting your hand on your heart and pledging your allegiance to the flag. I didn't even know what it meant as a kid. And to the republic for which it stands. I used to think for which it stands was one word. It sounds like someplace in Russia. For which it stands. But I didn't know what it meant, like word for word. But I knew it. Its essence was that we lived in America. It was a great nation, and we were proud of our country. Well, now that's a bad word, too. That's a bad word, to be proud of your country, to be proud that you're American, to be proud of your heritage for certain people is a bad thing. You're not allowed to be proud of achievements that people of your heritage have made over the years. Because that's, yes, very good, everyone, racist. It's racist to be proud of things that your ancestors have achieved. We are only supposed to look at the horribleness and pain that we have dished out over the course of our history. Other people, though, have free reign to just talk about their pride and their culture, which brings me to something else that I just remembered that is absolutely insane. There is a movie coming out that looks fantastic, Dunkirk. This is the story in 1940, right about sort of the beginning of World War II. British soldiers were trapped on the beach by the Nazis, and it was about 400,000 of them, and their backs to the ocean, man. That is the worst position you want to be in, and people from England, from the UK, came over on their own personal boats and anything they could carry people in, and evacuated all those British soldiers off of the beach. Just an amazing story. I'm so glad it's being told and done in this fashion. I love historic movies like this. Well, there's a problem, folks. There's a problem. The problem is not enough diversity in the cast. No women and no people of color. Someone in USA Today actually wrote this as a review of the movie, that was an issue. Again, we've reached this insane point in our history where an accurate depiction of a historical event is not good enough because it's being portrayed accurately. Is this a hate movie? Is this hate cinema? Because there aren't enough women or people of color in it? I got to tell you, I wasn't there, but I've done a lot of research on old WW2. And that beach was full of a lot of pasty skin Brits that needed to get off the beach. And a lot of pasty skin Brits went and got them. That's about it. And as far as the enemy goes, well, they were Nazis. Not going to find a lot of people of color in that Messerschmitt that's flying over the beach. But again, it's a problem. Diversity for the sake of diversity. It makes no sense, especially with a movie that is trying to base itself in fact. But again, that's where we are. That's where we are. We are constantly told that we need diversity, that diversity is our greatest strength. And if something works out well with a diverse group of people, that's wonderful. But that isn't because it was diverse. You see, why are we always being led to believe that that's the truth? Yeah, there it is. The complaints that people get. Look at that picture. Let me try to see. That's an actual picture of some of the soldiers from back in 1940. Yeah, I don't see many women. I don't see many people of color. Yeah. Wow, an accurate depiction is now a terrible thing. Do you see how we're being lied to? And do you see this indoctrination? We always think of college campuses as being the place that this indoctrination is going on. And oh, it is. But college kids, let's be real, are stupid. They're kids. They're going to say dumb things. I never went to college, but I was a dopey kid, and I did stupid things. I believed stupid stuff, and I said stupid stuff. So you can almost cut them some slack for their moronic statements and their moronic belief system of what this country and world is all about. When you see things like this and things that are advertised on TV commercials, TV shows, that is an indoctrination that is being fed to everyone, not just impressionable children. We are being told that straight white men are the dumbest people you'll ever find. I have wonderful evening text sessions with the inimitable Gavin McInnes. On a nightly basis, we trade videos and texts of commercials and TV shows and stuff that just depict straight white men as the world's idiotic little clowns, walking around incapable of doing anything. Something as simple, I believe there's an insurance company that's doing a commercial now where a guy suggests this, obviously he's married to the woman, he's white, and he's a man, straight white male. He makes this insane assumption that he might have been able to fix a leaky pipe in the ceiling. Well, his wife has to say, no, cuts him off, yells no at him, and he's just kind of, yeah, I'm a guy. I couldn't possibly fix a pipe or paint a ceiling. And again, you might go, oh, Anthony, why be so serious? Why get so worked up over? Because it's constantly happening. There it is. Look, he's just trying. He looks at the pipe with a dumb face, of course. He's like, I might be able to fix that. And then, no, she just yells no. Like he's going to try to perform brain surgery. Maybe I could cut our kid's head open and perform. No! It's a pipe, lady. Relax. But this is constant. It's a constant, nonstop buffet we're being fed of this propaganda and indoctrination. Nothing. And no one could be honest to the American people. Another prime example of this, John McCain. John McCain is, I'll say it, pretty ill. He's pretty sick. We just learned he has brain cancer. God bless. He's got brain cancer. Now, every single time a politician goes into the hospital for anything, we are told everything's fine. He has a splinter in his head. We pulled it out, and he's joking with the staff already. You know, it's always some nice, funny scenario. And then as time goes by, they feed us the inevitable horrid truth that, got one foot in the grave and another on a skateboard. But They cannot be honest with us. The politicians and the mainstream media are incapable of being honest with us, and I feel it's because they deem us too stupid and sensitive to accept the truth about anything. So it has to be fed to us in stages, like you would tell a child about an impending divorce of their parents. You don't just go, yeah, me and your mom are splitting up. It's got to be done gently. They treat us like children. And this has been done constantly. If you remember when Ronnie Reagan was shot years ago, we were pretty much told, you know, he caught the bullet, he threw it, he joked with the staff, and was back at the White House. For a while, we were told that, and it turns out that guy was just about dead. When you watch documentaries on the Reagan attempted assassination now, you realize it was a grave situation. But even as far back as that, they just lied to us. And it hasn't stopped. It has only gotten worse. Only gotten worse. The investigation that's going on, the Russia investigation by Mueller, the guy in charge, the guy in charge of the investigation. There he is, Robert Mueller. He's now investigating Trump's business dealings and business transactions. Where did this come from? How is this relevant to the investigation? Did they find something that made it relevant to the investigation? That's important, I believe. If they did find something, Trump colluded. He said, we'll take this info and I'll give you this. And we will exchange things that are valuable to each other. And that'll be great. Yeah, that would be a problem. I've heard or seen nothing that proves that happened between him or Trump Jr. or anyone else in Trump's organization that happened. You'd be hard-pressed to find that on mainstream media, though. They're making all kinds of accusations and speculations that are being fed to you on social media as fact. But now they're looking into business dealings. Does anyone remember what Trump did before he was president? Anyone? You? Who should I pick? You. All right, you. Who? What did he do? That's right. He was a businessman. He did business. He wasn't a career politician. That's why he won the election, by the way. Being a businessman, a global businessman, he did business with anyone? Yes, world leaders and world organizations. Absolutely. Very good. So you can't then say he was doing anything inappropriate just for doing business with other countries. That's what business people do. Now, again, if there were any illicit or inappropriate dealings, that's another thing. Again, nothing has come forward that shows there was. So if you have a lifetime politician that is doing business with foreign governments, that might get you like, maybe something's going on here. But if you have a businessman doing business, that's called success. That's called doing what he was supposed to do. And the fact that they got their grimy paws in that whole thing is par for the course and astounding, but typical of what we've seen. We'll be back in a very short moment. Don't go anywhere. Anthony Cumia in at Infowars.com. Thank you so much, deep voice guy. Love that guy. Yes, welcome back. Anthony Cumia in at Infowars.com. I want to finish up today with praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. OJ's out. The juice is loose. He's not out yet. I believe they have to. Boy, that's got to be tough, huh? Like, you're out. I believe beginning of October, OJ will be released. He's been paroled after 9 years in prison for armed robbery, kidnapping, knocking down people's mailboxes, driving through backyards, got a girl in the car. That's a man act. Sheriff Buford D. Justice. He's going to get out. He's been paroled. The parole hearing was interesting. OJ does not shut up. He's gonna be arrested for talking people to death when he gets out. It must be odd after 9 years you're going to be out and about and famous. Like, most people, they get out of prison and might remember an old guy named Brooks. They put him in the grocery store. He was bagging groceries. Then he went back to his house and carved Brooks was here and then hung himself. I don't see OJ doing that, but it's got to be weird. You get out of prison, you're on parole, probation, you're paroled, and you're famous. You're OJ. That's crazy. But he is out, and he's got to wait now, like, what is it, July through August, September? He's got to wait like a couple of months. That's got to be the hardest time. Remember when Quint in Jaws was talking about when that big old PBY came flying down, and he goes, that's when I was most scared, thinking it was my turn. Like right before you get on the plane, you think you're the last one the shark's going to get? Like OJ's got to be scared that he's going to get shanked or something. He better not steal any of the white supremacist cookies or anything in prison. You just better do some easy time. Or could you see if he gets in a fight and winds up killing somebody? Like OJ has to kill somebody in prison, and they're just like, yeah, you're in there forever now, OJ. Sorry, you killed someone. Well, OJ Simpson, paroled after 9 years. The humorous note, he did kill 2 people. Remember when he killed 2 people? I didn't think he was going to get out. I was watching the hearing, and OJ does not seem to place responsibility on himself. He went off about the episode that happened in that Las Vegas hotel room where him and a bunch of other guys burst in the room to reclaim what he said was his sports memorabilia with a guy with a gun. They held people against their will and took this merchandise back. And from what I was watching on the hearing, OJ seemed to blame everyone in the room except OJ. But, in the wisdom of the panel that was in front of OJ, they let him go. His daughter made a statement saying that OJ is a great guy, just wants to spend time with his kids. And the victim of the crime testified in OJ's defense and said that in the interim between the crime and now, they've rekindled their friendship and everything is hunky-dory. So I am really looking forward to OJ on Twitter, Facebook OJ. OJ actually said he might do a podcast or a web show of some sort, a vlog. I am there. Regardless of what this maniac murderer does, I will watch. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to Alex Jones for having me. Anthony Cumia over at compoundmedia.com in right now and loving every minute of it at Infowars.com. I'll see you in a couple of weeks.